Dahlia could not sleep, and her younger sister, also awake, approached her, seeking comfort. Dahlia called her to her, suggesting that they sleep together. There was an atmosphere of calm and warmth in their cozy bedroom. Dahlia's younger sister asked her to tell the same story again. Dahlia, smiling, agreed, preparing to narrate the familiar but always compelling tale. It was their shared ritual comfort before bedtime. Once upon a time, there was a maid and a young lord. They fell in love despite their different social statuses. Their love was sincere and touching, overcoming all the barriers and conventions of the time. The young lord helped the maid to become a beautiful lady. Her life was transformed. She received new clothes, jewelry, and began to lead a social life, becoming part of high society thanks to her love. The maid and the young lord attended a ball together, where they danced the night away. Their love and happiness shone through, attracting the admiring gazes of everyone present. They enjoyed every moment they spent together. However, the surroundings did not approve of their relationship. Despite this, the love of the maid and the young lord became even stronger. They defied all difficulties and soon managed to get married, proving to everyone that their feelings were real. The younger sister, lying in bed, listened to the story with rapt attention. Her eyes shone with excitement and happiness. She was enchanted by the tale of love that overcame all obstacles and trials. Dahlia reminded her sister that it was only a fairy tale, and things could be different in real life. The sister, despite her young age, confidently replied that she understood the difference between a fairy tale and reality. The sister thought about it and asked Dahlia how she would feel if she really liked someone. Dahlia, smiling, said that this person could become an important part of her life, even if he was a high-ranking nobleman. The person Dahlia was talking about had indeed become an important nobleman. Their love overcame all obstacles, and they lived happily ever after. Dahlia Balor introduces herself as a new maid on a wealthy estate, telling that she came here 5 years ago. She looks cheerful and enthusiastic. Her golden hair and shining eyes add to her charm, making the moment especially touching. Everyone in the audience feels that someone special is standing in front of them. Today is Dahlia's first day at the manor as a novice maid. She hopes to be helpful to everyone and deserves the approval of those present who applaud her words. The atmosphere in the hall is warm and the applause is heartfelt. Madame in the red coat instructs another maid, Thelma, to give Dahlia a tour of the property. Thelma agrees and begins to show off her new place of work. Madame has great respect for Dahlia and hopes that Thelma will help her settle in. Thelma, for her part, looks responsible and serious. Dahlia admires the grandeur of the Jufgen-Schultz estate and cannot believe that she is lucky enough to work here. You can see the excitement and admiration in her eyes. The huge windows, magnificent gardens, and exquisite architecture impress her. She feels that she has entered a real palace and it inspires her. She realizes that the working conditions and salaries here are much better than elsewhere. This gives her confidence in the future and a desire to work hard. Dahlia dreams of how she can help her family, and this gives her the strength to cope with any difficulties. She is determined to live up to the trust. Dreaming of the future, Dahlia hopes to save enough money to return home and open a flower store with her sister. Memories of her sister and their dream together give her strength. Dahlia imagines how they will work together, surrounded by flowers and happiness. Thelma shows her different parts of the estate, noting the northern forest in front of them. Dahlia listens intently, trying to memorize all the details. Thelma talks about each corner of the estate with such love that Dahlia feels like she is part of the story. Thelma warns Dahlia that she should stay away from certain places and people on the estate to avoid trouble and keep her job. Dahlia feels anxious, realizing that the place has its own strict rules and secrets. She promises to follow the directions so that she does not break the established routines. Dahlia feels anxious, realizing that this place has its own strict rules and secrets. She promises to follow the directions so as not to break the established routines. Her eyes widen at the realization of the possible dangers, but she realizes that she must be careful and follow all the rules to stay here for long. Dahlia thanks Thelma and confirms that she understood all the instructions. In her eyes, you can see the determination to stay here for a long time and achieve her goals. She is confident that she will be able to overcome all the challenges and accomplish her mission. Dahlia realizes that she needs to be more careful and attentive. She wants to work in this place as long as possible, enjoying the tranquility and beauty of the surrounding nature. Meanwhile, rumors are circulating about the mysterious owner of the estate, Isaac. They say that his face is disfigured and he can be very cruel. Some even believe him to be insane. Dahlia, however, doesn't pay much attention to this. She is convinced that these rumors have nothing to do with her and that her job is only to take care of the house and fulfill her duties. There is no need for a person of her rank to go near the outhouse where Isaac lives, much less see him. Dahlia feels safe avoiding these places. One day, Madame instructs Dahlia to deliver a package to the outhouse. This unexpected errand makes her think about the rumors she had heard earlier. Madame explains that Thelma, who usually handles such tasks, is now absent, and the only one who can be trusted with this errand is Dahlia. This makes her nervous, but she can't refuse. Dahlia tries to object, citing Thelma's instructions to avoid the outhouse under all circumstances, but Madame insists that it's just a quick errand. Dahlia eventually agrees, though she's concerned that she can't pass this assignment on to the other girls. Madame assures her that she chose her specifically because Dahlia never gossips about her master. Clutching the package, Dahlia tries to calm herself by repeating that everything will be fine. It's just a quick assignment, and she should be able to handle it despite her fears and doubts. Dahlia walks down the hallway, carrying the package in her hands. She has come to deliver it in Miss Thelma's place. Alarmed, she knocks on the door and, upon entering, apologizes to the owner of the room, Isaac, for disturbing her. When Dahlia enters, she sees Isaac, who looks at her with cold detachment. She apologizes again, feeling the tension in the room, as if a wave of negativity is coming over her. Rumors about Isaac spread among the servants. He is not to be approached. He carries bad energy, dangerous, violent, scary. These words pop into Dahlia's mind, increasing her fear. Isaac looks at her, a slight smile lighting up his face. He holds up a flower that seems to symbolize the mysterious connection between them. Dahlia is surprised by his sudden gentleness. Isaac starts a conversation, noticing her surprise. He says it's a puzzle called White Knight. Dahlia is amazed at what she sees, and her interest is piqued. Isaac tells her that all the pieces of the puzzle are white, and that it took him 2 whole days to put it together. Dahlia listens intently, feeling respect for his patience and attention to detail. She notices how beautiful the puzzle looks and asks his opinion. Isaac only smiles, confirming her words. His eyes glow with kindness and warmth, shattering her earlier fears. Dahlia realizes why they call him a ghost. It's not because of his cruelty, but because of his mysterious, almost unreal aura. She begins to realize his true nature. Isaac looks as if he doesn't belong in this world. His appearance and behavior fascinate Dahlia. She sees something more in him than just rumors and fears. Dahlia hands Isaac a bundle containing a book. He is surprised and asks if it is really a book. Dahlia confirms that it is a book and gives it to Isaac. Excitement and anticipation are in the air. Isaac carefully unwraps the package and sees a beautifully designed book in front of him. He is surprised, for this is not just any book, but a rare copy of Treasure Hunt 2. Isaac is amazed, his eyes glowing with admiration. Isaac, amazed, asks Dahlia if she can read. She is embarrassed, but confirms that she can. He is interested in the details and asks the next question about her education. Dahlia is a little nervous, but answers sincerely. Dahlia recalls reading books to her younger sister. Her sister loved to listen, and those moments brought joy to both of them. These were the books that the store threw away, and it was with these that Dahlia began her reading journey. Dahlia explains that it was through these books that she learned to read on her own. She is proud of her accomplishment and wants to share it with Isaac. He is impressed with her persistence and independence. Isaac recognizes that learning to read unaided is a truly impressive achievement. He recognizes her effort and hard work. Dahlia feels pride and joy at being recognized for her efforts. Isaac assumed that Dahlia's parents must be proud of her accomplishments, but he realizes from the look on her face that the subject of parents is painful to her. His words hurt Dahlia, and she doesn't know how to respond. Isaac apologizes for his words, realizing that he has touched on a painful subject. Dahlia, despite her embarrassment, assures him that everything is fine and asks him not to apologize. Her words show that she appreciates his concern. Isaac promises not to apologize again and tries to cheer her up. He feels responsible for her feelings and wants to show his support. Dahlia feels the warmth in his words and the sincerity in his eyes. A deeper understanding is established between them. Isaac and Dahlia grow closer as they share their stories and experiences. Their communication is filled with new colors and sincere emotions. Dahlia, having learned of Isaac's love of books, notices his fondness for reading. She slides awkwardly next to him, but finds it endearing. He, in turn, invites her to choose any book from his library, emphasizing his generosity. Isaac tells Dahlia that she can borrow any books from his library, expressing his desire to make her feel good. His words sound like an apology, which surprises and touches the girl. She realizes that this is an important gesture for him. Dahlia thanks Isaac with genuine joy in her eyes. Her face lights up with light and a smile, which makes the moment even more touching. She feels immense gratitude and admiration for Isaac's generosity. Isaac hesitantly remarks that the books in his library are too expensive. He is not sure that someone like him can just take them off the shelves. His modesty and uncertainty make the moment even more tense and touching. Dahlia assures Isaac that it would be better if someone else read the books. She refuses respectfully, believing that such books should be read by someone who will truly appreciate them. Her response is full of nobility and respect for Isaac's labor. Isaac, seeing Dahlia's gratitude, realizes that his gesture was the right one. He smiles, feeling satisfied and warmed by her words. In this moment, a special bond develops between them that they both appreciate. Dahlia, looking at Isaac, wonders about his true identity. She realizes that rumors of his terrible character have been greatly exaggerated. In fact, he turns out to be a completely different person, gentle and considerate. Her golden eyes look at Isaac with admiration. She sees him not just as a master, but as a true friend. Dahlia feels her heart begin to beat faster at his kindness and care. Her emotions overwhelm her, making the moment even more exciting. Isaac, noticing the look in Dahlia's eyes, asks her name. He wants to get to know her better, feeling that there is a special bond between them. His voice is soft and kind, drawing Dahlia in even more. Dahlia replies that her name is Dahlia Balor. She says her name proudly, feeling that this moment is important to her and Isaac. They look at each other with understanding and respect, sensing that something more is brewing between them. Isaac sits in the corner of the room, surrounded by scattered puzzle pieces, immersed in his thoughts. A servant addresses him, indicating his deep immersion in thought and internal struggle. Hoover informs Isaac that he has noticed someone coming out of the outhouse and wonders if everything is all right. Isaac assures him that everything is under control, but his facial expression says otherwise. Hoover explains that it was a servant delivering a package, though she seemed unusual to him. This makes Isaac curious and anxious. Isaac notices that this maid was the first one who could bear his gaze. He realizes that she is different from the others, which underscores his interest in the potential importance of this encounter. Dahlia is shown, who is probably unaware of the rumors surrounding Isaac. Her innocence and ignorance makes her even more mysterious to him. Hoover reminds Isaac that they have some errand to run. Isaac, immersed in his thoughts, agrees, though his attention is still focused on Dahlia. Isaac confidently states that he can pick up one of the maids, probably referring to Dahlia. This emphasizes his determination and intention to learn more about her. Isaac stands at the window, contemplating how to confirm his hunch. His eyes are fixed on the distance, and he decides to act to find out the truth about the mysterious maid. Dahlia was stunned to learn that she was now in charge of the outhouse. Sir Isaac had personally asked her specifically to take the position. The previous maid who had been in charge of the outhouse had broken the news that morning. In her new position, Dahlia would be in charge of all the outhouse's affairs. She was assured that there would not be much work, and she should not worry. Madame expressed confidence that everything would go well. Madame instructed Thelma to tell Dahlia everything she needed to know. Thelma was to explain the duties and help Dahlia settle into her new place. The maids agreed and began to carry out the order. Dahlia, a little nervous, followed Thelma to learn more about her new duties. She hoped she could handle her new job and had many questions about what lay ahead. Thelma decided to warn Dahlia that the one place she was strongly advised to avoid if she wanted to stay late at work was the outhouse. Dahlia felt a wave of anxiety because that was where she had been directed. Later, Dahlia asked if anything special had happened at the outhouse yesterday, but Thelma assured her that everything had been quiet and nothing unusual had happened. Still, Dahlia couldn't shake off her doubts. Dahlia appealed to Thelma to help her stay in this job as long as possible. She was determined to deal with any difficulties that might arise. Thelma understood that Dahlia was experiencing a lot of anxiety and tried to support her by sharing her knowledge and experience. This was the beginning of their working and learning together in the outhouse. Dahlia was determined and ready to tackle any challenges despite her fears. Her determination to stay on the job as long as possible gave her strength and confidence. With Thelma's support and her perseverance, Dahlia slowly began to settle into her new role. A long and challenging job awaited her, but she was prepared for anything to prove her competence and reliability. Dahlia discusses with Thelma her meeting with Sir Isaac. She is surprised that he turned out to be nothing like they say he is. Thelma confirms that Isaac is indeed a good man, and they both wonder where the rumors came from. Dahlia expresses surprise that Isaac is not what the rumors describe him as. Thelma agrees that he is not a bad man. They discuss the reasons for the rumors, suspecting that it has to do with the Duchess and the Marquis. A diagram of the Jufkenschultz family is depicted, with Duchess Ermina and Marquis Maximilian as the main figures. The diagram also includes other members of the family, including Sir Isaac, whom they hate. Sir Isaac's first appearance at the palace was the beginning of his complicated relationship with the family. This relationship created many conflicts and rumors affecting his reputation. The Duchess practically banished Isaac to an outhouse, isolating him from the rest of the family. This act only exacerbated the tension and hatred between them. The Marquis could not rest until he had tortured Isaac in various ways. This added even more animosity to their family relationship and led to further conflict. Dahlia and Thelma discuss how much the family members hate each other. Their conversation illustrates a deep and complex relationship overflowing with hatred and intrigue. The Jufkenschultz family, one of the most prestigious in the country, welcomes an illegitimate child with open arms, a rarity among the nobility. This adds drama to Isaac's story. The Marquis is set to arrive next month, and Thelma predicts that this will lead to utter chaos. Dahlia realizes that they are in for a rough period filled with intrigue and conflict. Thelma warns Dahlia to be careful not to get too close to Isaac, despite all her duties at the outhouse. She worries for Dahlia's safety in this tense environment. Dahlia, now in charge of the outhouse, is instructed to use the hidden entrance to manage things. This should help her discreetly carry out her duties while avoiding unnecessary attention. Thelma and the other maids are suddenly confronted with an order to go to the main entrance with urgency. Their actions are disturbing, and they promptly head to the designated location, leaving their current affairs behind. News appears of the imminent arrival of the Marquis Maximilian. This news makes Dahlia uneasy, her eyes wide with surprise and fear of the inevitable meeting. Maximilian insists that Carla take another sip of the drink. He persists in trying to convince her despite her obvious reluctance, which causes them to tense up. Carla, with book in hand, threatens to throw the flask out the door. Her determination shows her strength of character and her willingness to act despite the odds. Carla resents Maximilian for drinking while working. Her frustration is clearly seen when she abruptly snatches the flask from his hands, rebuking him for his irresponsibility. The quarrel escalates, and Carla, in a rage, demands that the carriage be stopped. Her anger stems from the fact that she does not understand what is going on with Maximilian, and this situation heats up their relationship. Maximilian gives Carla a letter with a sarcastic comment, calling her an idiot. Carla is annoyed but takes the letter, realizing that its contents may be important. Maximilian is angry at someone who has done something dastardly in their absence. His rage and determination to punish the perpetrator emphasizes his desire for justice and the protection of their common interests. Thelma sternly orders Dahlia to go directly to the outhouse, warning her that it will be difficult to get there when the Marquis arrives. Dahlia realizes that the assignment is urgent and important and heads to the specified location. Upon arrival at the outhouse, Thelma reminds Dahlia to return to the main entrance immediately after finishing her work to prepare to meet the Marquis. Dahlia nods, showing that she understands the gravity of the situation. Isaac discovers the torn papers on the floor and angrily asks how someone dared to enroll in the same school as him. He sees this as an insult and betrayal, building up resentment and suspicion. Maximilian, the Marquis, is also disturbed and accuses Isaac that this is all part of his plan to discredit the family. The situation escalates, and both sides are ready for open conflict. Dahlia, watching what is happening, realizes that she has seen the Marquis' face in the portrait. She realizes that his arrival could greatly affect Isaac's fate and begins to worry for him. After realizing the consequences, Dahlia realizes that if the Marquis learns the truth, Isaac will definitely suffer. She decides to take action to prevent possible trouble and protect Isaac. Maximilian continues to accuse Isaac, claiming that he has already dishonored the family by his actions. His words are filled with anger and frustration, and he clearly has no intention of forgiving what has happened. Isaac, defending himself, points out Maximilian's faults, including his addiction to gambling and women. He doubts that the other noble families will respect the Jufkenschultz after all that has happened. Maximilian, irritated and hurt, puts Isaac in his place, emphasizing that he has already hurt the family with his actions. He is determined to defend his family's honor and will not back down in the face of adversity. Dahlia stays where she is, watching the conflict unfold. She realizes that her actions could affect the outcome of events and the fates of all involved. Isaac thinks about how the Duke applied on his behalf without warning. He is determined not to attend the same school as Maximilian and promises to stay in the outhouse for the rest of his life. With a cold expression on his face, Isaac agrees to the terms, as if to emphasize that this is exactly what Maximilian wants. His eyes reflect a determination not to compromise. Maximilian chuckles, hinting that Isaac has avoided more serious consequences this time. His complete confidence in his power makes the scene tense and unsettling. However, Maximilian warns that the next time Isaac crosses the line, he will not be so generous. Isaac remains standing at the entrance to the house, realizing the seriousness of the threat. Dahlia, hiding behind the bushes, watches fearfully. Maximilian notices her and accuses her of liking to sneak and hide. Dahlia looks shocked and frightened. Dahlia apologizes, realizing that she intervened at the wrong time. She notices that Isaac and Maximilian don't have the warmest relationship, and this causes her concern. Isaac calmly confirms her words, noting that his relationship with Maximilian is indeed far from ideal. Dahlia tries to calm him down by telling him about her quarrels with her younger sister. Smiling, Isaac agrees that such relationships are typical of siblings. His words that even hatred can be a form of caring seem strange and a little sad to Dahlia. Isaac recalls constant quarrels and merciless bullying from Maximilian. Things were calmer when his brother was in the dormitory, but returning always brings new conflicts. Every time the school day ends, a real hell begins for Isaac. Maximilian doesn't miss an opportunity to make life difficult for him, and this constant tension makes their relationship even more painful. Dahlia stands in front of Isaac. He warns her that she shouldn't run into Maximilian. Dahlia is shocked, her eyes wide with fear and surprise, realizing the seriousness of the situation. Ermina explains to Dahlia that Maximilian has disgusting habits, especially towards maids. She warns her to be careful and stay away from him, as his behavior can be dangerous. Dahlia can't believe what she hears. Her mind flashes back to the fact that Maximilian is the heir to the ducal title and can't be behaving so horribly. She recalls all the rumors and stories related to him. Maximilian, who sees her confusion, glances at her expression. It is as if he is enjoying her fear and anxiety. Dahlia realizes that his social status does not make him better than the rest of them. Ermina yells at someone, outraged that the child was sent to public school. She is unhappy that the decision was made without her consent, especially since the school is for nobles. Ermina's irritation turns to rage, and she declares that whoever made this decision doesn't know when to stop. Her scream echoes around the room, increasing the tension and discontent. Maximilian, with a glass of wine in his hands, tries to calm his mother by addressing her in a calm tone. He assures her that he tore up the application in front of the man who dared to submit it and immediately threw it in his face. Garin, Maximilian's father, is outraged at his son's interference in his affairs. He demands an explanation as to why Maximilian dared to disrupt order and make a decision that should have been left to him. Maximilian explains that his father continues to disrupt the rank order, which is hurting the whole family. He says that every time this happens, the consequences affect him and his reputation. Heron glares angrily at his son, his words full of contempt. He claims that Maximilian's grades are disgraceful and believes that his son is already doing enough to ruin his and the family's reputation. Maximilian, the red-haired Marquis, accuses Duchess Ermina of deciding to send her second son to the same school to try to get good grades out of him. He is furious at the idea and thinks it is stupid. A young man dressed in red, probably Ermina's son, says that the Isaac in question is not going to enroll in that school himself, so it's a waste of time. He insists on stopping the discussion. A woman with short brown hair, probably the young man's mother, is concerned about the repeated conflicts at their meetings. She expresses her displeasure at her husband's behavior and his tantrums over another boy. In the spacious dining room, Ermina orders Carla to check on Max because at this rate, no one will show up for breakfast. She's not sure if her visit will change anything about the situation. The man puts his hand on Ermina's shoulder and says that they are twins, offering to talk to him. This gesture symbolizes an attempt to establish communication and understanding in the family. The maid in the servants' room, Edina, is discussing the latest controversy in the house with her coworkers. They suggest that the conflict is once again about the ghost of the outhouse, as it often is. Edina, with a cup of tea in hand, thinks it is unfair that they should all suffer because of this boy. Her golden eyes are full of regret and fatigue from the constant conflicts. The red-haired maid encourages Edina, saying that Lady Carla is short on labor. She offers to go together to help manage the situation. Smiling, the red-haired maid encourages Edina to join her. In her eyes, you can see the eagerness to help and support each other in difficult circumstances. The grand palace is bathed in the light of sunset, and the two maids are discussing Lady Carla. Lady Carla has taken a vacation and planned to stay longer, but she returned so quickly that her maids have not had time to return. Dahlia asks Edina why Lady Carla returned so quickly. Edina explains that the Duchess changes Lady Carla's schedule depending on Marquis Max's plans. Carla is the only one who can calm the Marquis when he is angry. Edina assumes that Carla has just returned after calming the Marquis during his last tantrum. Both maids must be careful not to upset him again. Edina and Dahlia knock on Carla's door, ready to help her change her clothes. Carla, standing at the window, hears their approach and turns around, her gaze full of shadowed reflection. Carla notices Edina and says she hasn't seen her before. Edina helps Lady Carla remove her heavy cloak, preparing her for her change of clothes. Dahlia watches with some excitement. When Carla asks for a name, Dahlia replies that her name is Dahlia Belor. Her voice trembles with excitement as she is facing such a powerful and beautiful woman. Edina laughs and says that a beautiful woman calls her assistant beautiful. Dahlia blushes, her heart filling with warmth at the unexpected compliment. Carla earnestly confirms her words, adding that Dahlia's new friend is indeed beautiful. This confession makes Dahlia smile, despite her struggles. Carla cautions Dahlia that her beauty as a maid could create problems and mess at work, rather than help. Despite this, Carla expresses regret that such beauty brings more trouble than joy, causing Dahlia mixed feelings. Carla, dressed in a gorgeous gown, warns Dahlia of the danger from Max, hinting that he might harm her. Dahlia, being a maid, listens to her with a concerned expression on her face. Carla continues to explain that Max will not rest if he sees a beauty like Dahlia. Her face lights up with a mysterious smile, emphasizing the seriousness of the warning. Edina enters the room and sees Dahlia, who looks confused. Edina tries to reassure her, telling Dahlia not to worry about Lady Carla's words, trying to distract her from her troubling thoughts. Dahlia replies that she's fine, she's just a little dazed. Edina understands her confusion and begins to discuss family strife, insinuating that it's all about their wealth. Edina shares that rich families always argue over the excess of everything they have. Dahlia, holding the flowers in her hands, ponders these words, trying to understand the depth of their meaning. Edina tries to dispel Dahlia's naive ideas about rich families by pointing out that money does not solve all problems. Dahlia begins to understand the complexity of family conflicts unrelated to material wealth. Dahlia recalls her younger sister Laurel, who has suffered from asthma since childhood. These thoughts make her feel sad and responsible for her sister, who always needed care. After the death of her parents during the war, the care of Laurel fell on Dahlia's shoulders. She struggled to earn as much money as possible to provide her sister with the necessary medications and medical care. Dahlia recalls how she did everything she could to earn money, even if it was hard and humiliating. These memories bring her to tears, but she is determined to keep fighting for her sister's sake. Dahlia hugs Laurel and promises herself that she will do everything she can to protect her. These warm moments with her sister fill her with determination and give her the strength to keep fighting despite the odds. Edina happily informs Dahlia that she has received a letter from her sister. Dahlia looks a little worried, for the letter may contain news about her sister's health, which has been deteriorating over the winter. Edina tries to cheer her up with her smile, handing her the letter with warm words of encouragement. Dahlia reads the letter, in which her sister reassures her, telling her that there is no need to worry and bring gifts. She feels a slight sense of relief, though questions remain about her sister's health. The letter mentions that the sister is looking forward to Dahlia's arrival and plans to meet with the teacher. Edina and Dahlia discuss the letter over a cup of tea. Dahlia is worried because her sister's asthma usually worsens in winter, and she is worried about her well-being. Edina shares that her sister's condition can indeed be dangerous if not monitored closely. Edina comforts Dahlia by offering to buy a new comforter for her sister to help her through the winter. Dahlia is grateful for the support and thinks of possible gifts that could make winter more comfortable for her sister. They are discussing what medications might help better. Dahlia hopes that the winter will pass without incident and that her sister will be fine. She tells Edina about her worries, trying to find a way to help her sister. Edina listens attentively, supporting Dahlia with her sympathy and kind words. Suddenly, Edina notices the Lord approaching and warns Dahlia. Dahlia looks a little confused and tense, as the Lord's arrival always causes a commotion. Edina explains in a panic that the Lord is coming again, adding tension to their conversation. Lord is out hunting in the woods, but it's really his way of protesting. He is clearly unhappy about something, and this adds to the tension in the house. His daily hunts become a hidden protest against something going on in the outhouse, creating an atmosphere of discontent. Edina complains that they barely have time to just sit down because of Lord's constant restlessness. Dahlia agrees, but struggles to explain the situation and support her friend. She assures Edina that the Lord is not so ghostly and that a way can be found to improve the situation. Edina understands the feelings of the Marquis, but believes that the problems are not because of the mistakes of others, but because of his difficult fate. She hopes that things will get better and they can find common ground with the Lord. Dahlia agrees, adding that the Marquis did not ask to be born out of wedlock and is not to blame for his circumstances. Dahlia and Edina, dressed in their maid's uniforms, were standing in the hallway when the head maid, Thelma, approached them and asked Dahlia to come with her. Edina stayed to watch, visibly concerned. Edina and Dahlia exchanged glances and said goodbye, as Dahlia went off to complete a new task. Edina struggled to hide her anxiety as she thought about how Dahlia was always supportive of Sir Isaac. Dahlia was kind and caring. She protected Isaac and supported him despite all the hardships. These thoughts gave Edina mixed feelings. Dahlia walked down the palace's luxurious corridor, pondering her next task. The opulence of the surroundings contrasted with her modest maid's uniform, and she prepared herself for her errands. Thelma announced to Dahlia that her task would be cleaning. Dahlia realized that it was far from her lot, but she was the one Sir Isaac felt more comfortable with. Dahlia readily accepted the new task, assuring Thelma that she could handle it. They exchanged brief words of approval, and Thelma entrusted her with the care of Isaac's room. Dahlia picked up the mop, feeling relieved. She had been thinking about how important it was to ensure Isaac's safety and comfort, and was glad that she had been entrusted with such a responsible task. Immersed in her thoughts, Dahlia noted that she hadn't seen Isaac in a while. She was determined to tackle the cleaning and make sure everything met his requirements. Stepping into the room, she saw that Isaac was asleep. His peaceful face was illuminated by the soft light, and Dahlia felt her heart grow warm at the sight of his peaceful expression. She moved closer and noticed that up close, Isaac looked like a doll, so fragile and beautiful. This vision increased her desire to care for him and protect him from any harm. Isaac reflects on the fact that Dahlia is probably more beautiful than most girls he has met. He says her name, and Dahlia, standing behind him, is clearly embarrassed and excited by this. Isaac asks Dahlia not to look at him so intently, as it embarrasses him. Dahlia, realizing her embarrassment, hastily apologizes, blushing and hiding her gaze. Isaac forgives Dahlia for her awkwardness, assuring her that it was no big deal. She bows deeply in respect and relief, sensing his kindness. Isaac reminds Dahlia that her job here is to clean up. Dahlia, feeling responsible, confirms this and says that she tries to fulfill her duties as best she can. Isaac offers to stay and watch the cleaning process. Dahlia is a little surprised, but agrees, pleased at his attention to her labor and eager to show her best self. Isaac is impressed with how clean and tidy Dahlia handles the cleaning. He can't believe she does it all by herself without leaving a speck of dirt. Dahlia thanks Isaac for the compliment, but deep down, she wonders why he is taking such an interest in her work. She has never met a nobleman who was interested in cleaning. Isaac asks how long Dahlia has been working in this house. Dahlia replies with a smile that it has been almost 3 months, recalling all the hardships and joys during that time. Isaac continues his questioning and wonders if Dahlia has worked as a maid before. She confirms that she lived with Duchess McFawn for about 6 months, which was an important experience for her. Isaac mentions that he has heard of the Duchess McFawn, who is known for her fiery temper. Dahlia embarrassedly admits that the rumors are true and adds that she handled it despite the difficulties. Dahlia witnessed violent scenes that took place in her life. Her boss liked to take it out on her subordinates, often yelling and even using force. Most of the servants wouldn't last a week, running away. Isaac was surprised to learn that Dahlia had worked there for 6 months. He couldn't understand how she had managed to endure such conditions and continued to stay there. His eyes expressed both admiration and bewilderment. Dahlia explained that she had a younger sister who suffered from asthma and was in an orphanage. All her efforts are focused on earning money to pay for her sister's medical bills. Isaac realized that Dahlia has a family for whom she is willing to endure all hardships. Although Dahlia once had parents, they were killed during the war. This tragedy put an imprint on her life, forcing her to take responsibility for her younger sister. Isaac realized that Dahlia had lost her entire family to the war. When Isaac found out that she was talking about the Civil War in Wublin, he was shocked. He had heard that this war was particularly brutal and spared no one. Dahlia, despite all of this, survived and continues to fight for her life and her sister's life. For Dahlia, the memories of the war were a heavy burden. She felt guilty for mentioning it and apologized to Isaac. He, on the other hand, tried to understand and support her, admiring her strength and resilience. Isaac noticed that the conversation was becoming difficult for Dahlia. He wanted to reassure her and show her that she was not alone in her suffering. He tried to keep a positive attitude so that she could feel his care and involvement. Dahlia doubted that she was the only one facing such hardships because of the war. But Isaac, despite her doubts, was confident that she was incredibly strong and capable of overcoming any obstacles. Isaac expressed admiration for her positive thinking and work ethic. He wondered if he could accomplish something good if he worked as hard as Dahlia. This moment inspired him to accomplish new things. Dahlia, though tired from her hard life, managed to keep her soul light and striving for the best. The story of her struggle and resilience inspired Isaac, and he decided to support her by helping her overcome all the difficulties together. Isaac looks at Dahlia and wishes her a peaceful day, but then stops her, asking her to stay a moment. He wonders if she has finished the book he gave her last time. Dahlia is surprised to remember the book. Dahlia, panicked, promises to go back to the main building immediately and fetch the book. Isaac tries to calm her down, telling her that there's no need to rush. He was just interested in whether she had read the book. After calming down, Dahlia replies that she was just curious. Isaac suggests that she come back tomorrow at the same time so he can lend her another book. Dahlia gratefully agrees. As she leaves Isaac, Dahlia wonders if she made a fool of herself and realizes that she should have just kept quiet and cleaned the room. She is slightly embarrassed by her behavior. On her way back, Dahlia meets Adina, who wonders what she's doing in this hallway. Dahlia explains that it's her turn to keep an eye on the place and asks what Adina is doing. Adina notices that Dahlia is blushing and curiously asks why. Dahlia asks her to keep her voice down, claiming that no one should find out about this. She tries to hide her feelings. After making sure the hallway is empty, Adina reassures Dahlia, saying that everything is clear and no one saw them. Dahlia breathes a sigh of relief, but is still a little freaked out by what happened. Dahlia decides to talk to Adina to sort out her feelings. They discuss the events, and Adina gives her some advice on how to behave in similar situations. Adina, observing Dahlia, realizes that she has feelings for Isaac. She suggests that Dahlia be honest with herself and with Isaac to avoid misunderstandings in the future. Dahlia thanks Adina for her support and advice, feeling a little more confident. She decides to be more open and honest when she meets with Isaac tomorrow. In one room, with its semi-darkness and gloomy atmosphere, a voice suddenly booms out, rebuking Dahlia for being in charge of a ghost. At that moment, the window is ominously opened, as if confirming what has been said. The mood is unsettling and mysterious. Adina, noticing that Dahlia has been too loud, begs her to speak more softly. The situation becomes tense as they both realize the seriousness of what is being discussed. Dahlia apologizes as she did not expect to hear the truth from Adina. Edina explains that she was asked to keep it a secret. She looks troubled and slightly frightened, while Dahlia listens to her in amazement. This moment creates a sense of heaviness and tension. Dahlia, looking at Edina, wonders if she can keep this a secret. Her eyes are full of doubt, but she hopes for her friend's support. Anticipation and anxiety hang in the air. Edina, assuring Dahlia that of course she will keep the secret, says that's what friends are for. This moment confirms their strong friendship and understanding. Their smiles ease the tension slightly. Edina voices her concerns about the footsteps they heard. Dahlia agrees with her, adding that the sounds were clearly coming from a man in heels. This moment brings back the anxiety and worry. Edina hopes it was Lady Carla, as a duchess would be more dangerous. They discuss their duties and tasks, hoping to avoid trouble. This moment emphasizes their fear of the possible consequences. The plan was for Edina to stand guard in the hallway while Dahlia cleaned Sir Isaac's room. The girls in maid uniforms looked focused and tense, ready to complete their tasks. Despite their alarm, they no longer heard those footsteps, and for a time were able to forget their fears. The tension was gone from their faces, and they began to feel relieved and calm. Sir Isaac began to give Dahlia simple tasks that helped to distract her from the recent events. These tasks brought her a sense of significance and allowed her to take her mind off her worries, creating a new direction in her life. Dahlia, with light blonde hair, reflects on how every time she doesn't have to clean Isaac's room, he still finds an excuse to call her. Yesterday, he asked for a ream of paper, and today, he asked for a bottle of ink. She is slightly annoyed by this inconsistency, but she tries not to show her feelings by remaining polite and calm. She regrets that Isaac doesn't ask for everything at once, so she doesn't have to go to him several times. Still, she knocks on the door, preparing to run another errand. She hopes that this time she can do without unnecessary delays and trouble, but inwardly prepares herself for any development. Isaac, sitting in his room, informs her that he has been expecting her. Dahlia hands him the ink he asked for, feeling a slight tension from his gaze. She tries to understand what lies behind his calmness and what it is that makes him summon her to him so often. Isaac reminds Dahlia of what she said about loving adventure stories. He thanks her for the ink and picks up the book he is about to give her. This gesture is unexpected and piques Dahlia's interest and joy. She was not expecting such a gift, but she is pleased to receive a book, especially from him. Dahlia is delighted with the gift and promises to be sure to share her opinion of the book the next time she comes to clean. Her face lights up with a sincere smile, and she feels that something more than just a master and maid relationship is emerging between them. This moment becomes special and memorable for her. Dahlia walks out of Isaac's room, holding a book in her hands and wondering what kind of work he has given her this time. Her eyes glow with curiosity and joy. She anticipates a fascinating reading and hopes that the book will be as interesting and exciting as the previous ones. Suddenly, Carla appears, with long red hair, and reminds Dahlia that she asked her to stay away from Isaac. There is an undercurrent of threat in her words, and Dahlia feels a chill run down her spine. She realizes that Carla is unhappy with their rapprochement and sees her as a rival or a threat. Carla doubts that Dahlia is doing the right thing by getting close to Isaac, who may be even more dangerous than he seems. She accuses her of rashness and warns her of the possible consequences. Dahlia realizes that her actions could lead to unwanted problems, but isn't ready to back down. Carla tries to reassure Dahlia by telling her that they are alone now. She confesses that she asked another maid to bring her something to put on over the outfit she feels uncomfortable in. Dahlia sees Carla not only as a threat, but as someone who also has her own fears and doubts. Carla admits that she looks silly, but adds that it's only been a few days since her debut, and she's already being seen like this. She worries that she might be sold while she's still popular in the market. Her words elicit sympathy from Dahlia, and she realizes that behind Carla's outward coldness lies a vulnerable soul seeking understanding and support. Carla admires Dahlia's appearance, telling her that she looks beautiful. Dahlia is embarrassed by the compliment, but Carla assures her that she has the power to drive men crazy in that dress. Carla continues that it would be strange if the dress didn't have that effect, since it reveals a lot of skin. Dahlia remarks that she is embarrassed by the amount of exposed body, but Carla insists that it is unavoidable. Carla takes something from Dahlia's hands, assuring her that her mother wouldn't like it if she ever found out. Dahlia feels anxious and fears her mother's anger. Carla asks Dahlia if she wants to be banished from the estate if her secret gets out. Dahlia is stunned and fears the consequences. Carla questions whether Dahlia knows why Isaac is called a ghost. She hints that it's not just his secluded lifestyle. Carla explains that Isaac consumes everyone he likes, which causes a chill in the air everywhere he goes. Dahlia is stunned by this revelation. Carla continues that anyone who showed sympathy for Isaac or cared for him disappeared or died. Dahlia is disturbed by these gruesome details. Carla says that her mother and Max saw it. Dahlia realizes how serious it is and feels the weight of this information. Carla warns Dahlia about everything and suggests that she continue her relationship with Isaac if she wants to, but on the condition that no one else finds out about it. Carla expresses frustration at the mess in the house, comparing it to Max. Dahlia reflects on Carla's warning, realizing that their problems are far from over. Isaac convinces himself that he has no feelings for Dahlia, but the smile on his face says otherwise. He stands at the window, contemplating his emotions, which seem confused and contradictory. Isaac looks at the chessboard, remembering the times they played together. He sees a brown piece that reminds him of the feathers associated with Dahlia's hair. His thoughts sink into memories of her. Dahlia appears in his imagination, surrounded by flowers and light. Her hair, similar to the color of Dahlia's, evokes tender feelings in him. He cannot stop thinking about her beauty and kindness, despite his best efforts to remain indifferent. Isaac imagines how she looks in a beautiful dress, with her hair neatly arranged. It seems to him that if she accepted his care and attention, she would shine even brighter, becoming even more beautiful than she is now. He is sure that Dahlia could outshine Carla with her beauty and grace. The thought brings him comfort and hope that someday she will be able to see herself as he sees her. Isaac holds the small figure in his hands as he ponders the future. He wonders what would happen if he took her to his place. How would she react, and how would their lives change? Garen bursts into Isaac's room with a sharp bang of the door, interrupting his thoughts. The Duke looks worried and annoyed, which immediately catches Isaac's attention. Garen asks Isaac the reason for his unexpected visit and expresses his displeasure. He confesses that he can't get his thoughts together and needs a little break. Isaac invites Garen to play a game of chess to distract him and give him a chance to calm down. In this game, Isaac sees an opportunity to re-establish their communication and understand what is bothering Garen. The game is completed, and Isaac declares checkmate. This chess victory symbolizes his determination and confidence in his feelings for Dahlia, as well as his willingness to fight for what he holds dear. Isaac and Garen sat at a chess table in a luxurious room. Isaac, pondering the game, realized that he had forgotten about the bishop. Garen suggested continuing the game, but Isaac, tired, decided that enough was enough for today. Garen agreed with his son, suggesting that he rest as it was getting late. Isaac responded respectfully and headed for the exit, reflecting on the significance of these games and the time spent with his father. Garen, standing in front of the portrait representing him as the conqueror of Germany and hero of the Republic, felt the weight of responsibility and memories once again. His status and victories always reminded him of his duty to his country and people. Isaac recalled the moment when he first learned that Garen was his father. He felt a mixture of surprise and confusion, realizing that his father was a great conqueror whose actions had changed the fate of so many people. Isaac wondered what it would be like to be the sword that always protected its wielder. Many questions arose in his mind about the meaning of his existence and his role in the world. Metaphorical chess pieces unfolded around Isaac, symbolizing his place in the game of life. He felt like an insignificant and unwanted child who could not find his place in the world. Isaac considered himself only occasionally useful. He always felt like a shadow of his great father, whose importance and greatness put a great pressure on him, and this led to inner doubts. Garen put his hand on Isaac's shoulder, trying to support him in this difficult moment. Isaac felt his father's care. Despite his doubts and inner torment, he realized that he was not alone. Isaac wondered how long Garen would be coming here, missing the woman he loved. His thoughts were full of contradictions, and his inner tension grew, reflected on his face. Isaac was experiencing inner conflict and pain. He thought about his lost love and its impact on their lives. These thoughts weighed heavily on him, filling his heart with sadness and anxiety. Isaac lay on his bed, immersed in thoughts of the past. He had hoped that he could forget his experiences, but the memories of them came back to him again and again, hurting him. He wondered if Dahlia would come tomorrow. Thoughts of her were an outlet for him, but the doubts kept him going, increasing his anxiety and despair. Isaac decided that seeing Dahlia's angelic face would make him feel a little better. This hope gave him the strength to carry on despite the torments of the past. Dahlia, busy with her duties, suddenly realized that the footsteps she heard belonged to Lady Carla. This discovery made her tense, for she was to meet Sir Isaac. She needed to see Sir Isaac tomorrow, despite her fear of Lady Carla. Dahlia hoped she could ask Thelma for permission or talk to Adina about her problem. Suddenly, Adina ran up to Dahlia and hugged her tightly, exclaiming her name. Dahlia was stunned by this reaction, not knowing what was going on. Adina excitedly informed Dahlia about the hairy crabs, causing her even more confusion. Dahlia didn't understand what it was all about and asked for an explanation. Hairy crabs from the Northern Sea were served for dinner that night. Adina spoke enthusiastically about it, while Dahlia tried to comprehend what she was hearing. When Dahlia asked what "and" meant, Adina expressed surprise that she had never tasted hairy crabs, making her feel uncomfortable. Dahlia explained that she had eaten big crabs before, but Adina, gesturing to emphasize her surprise, insisted that it wasn't the same thing at all, accusing Dahlia of ignorance and hypocrisy. Adina prepares to serve the crabs with a serious expression on her face. Her tension can be felt in every movement. She wants to impress and show off her culinary skills. This is an important moment for her, and she is determined. Dahlia looks at Adina in surprise, not expecting such enthusiasm. She has never seen her so passionate and is full of expectation. Her eyes are wide open, and her mouth is ajar with surprise and curiosity. Adina holds the crab up to Dahlia with pride, confident in the success of her dish. Dahlia hesitantly takes the crab, her hands trembling and unsure if she should try this exotic treat. Dahlia looks at the crab carefully, wondering if it will really taste good. Her face reflects mixed feelings of disgust and curiosity. She doesn't know what to expect from this dish. Later, Dahlia confesses that she dreamed about crabs all night. She can't forget this strange dream in which crabs played a starring role. Her face lights up at the memory, and she smiles as she recounts it. Isaac, sitting at the table, asks Dahlia about her dream. She excitedly tells about the hairy crabs she dreamed about. Her joy and amazement leave him unmoved. Dahlia remembers being at the beach with her sister in her hometown. People were dancing around, and huge crab legs were handed out to everyone. It was a magical moment that she remembers for a long time. Dahlia goes on to tell how they twirled in a round dance and enjoyed the food. She is happy to share these memories, her face glowing with joy and nostalgia for those times. Isaac listens to Dahlia with interest, asking questions about her experiences. He marvels at her enthusiasm and joy in remembering the crabs. Her smile and energy energizes him with positivity. Adina comments that the hairy crabs are a rare treat, and they were prepared thanks to Lady Carla. Dahlia agrees, and thanks Adina for the opportunity to try this exquisite dish that left her with a vivid impression. Dahlia, having recently made her debut, has attracted the attention of those around her, who are now eager to give her gifts. Quickly spoiling foods such as cakes and fruits are sent directly to her. The atmosphere in the room is filled with luxury and elegance. Isaac, holding the gift box, mentions that hair crabs were the last thing that could have been given. Despite his easy smile, he doubts that Dahlia would be happy about it. His comment emphasizes the comical nature of the situation and hints at the heroine's complex preferences. When Dahlia asks Isaac if he likes crabs, he becomes nervous. The question surprises him and makes him uncomfortable, which is evident in his reaction. The situation becomes tense, and the relationship between the characters begins to reveal itself in a deeper way. In a private setting, Isaac confesses that he doesn't like crabs, and adds that he doesn't care too much about food at all. His words sound sincere, and he opens up to Dahlia, showing his simplicity and unassuming nature. Dahlia, smiling, shares her experience, saying that she is used to eating everything and that her recent experience with delicious food was unforgettable for her. Her words convey joy and gratitude for the new experience, and her radiant smile makes the moment even more touching. Isaac notices that Dahlia is anxious about something. He notices her anxiety and expresses his concern by asking what is wrong. At this point, their relationship becomes more trusting, and he is willing to listen to her concerns. Isaac assures Dahlia that she doesn't have to talk if she doesn't want to. His words are filled with understanding and warmth, which helps Dahlia feel safe. He supports her, showing that he is always willing to help and listen. Dahlia admits that she has had some discouraging things too, but doesn't want to go into details. However, after talking to Isaac, she feels better, which emphasizes his influence on her and their growing bond. Isaac suggests that Dahlia talk to him if she ever wants to discuss something important. His offer sounds sincere and encouraging, strengthening their friendship and showing his willingness to support her in any circumstance. Dahlia, touched by Isaac's concern, promises that if not now, she will definitely turn to him later. Her words end the scene on an optimistic note, strengthening their relationship and promising to further their friendship. Dahlia asks Isaac with a smile if he would like more hairy crabs, noting that it is his favorite dish. She waits cheerfully for his answer, holding the cleaning supplies in her hands. Isaac, with a cup of tea in hand, replies to Dahlia that there are dishes tastier than crabs. He explains that when he sees her enjoyment of crabs, he wants to let her try something new and different. Dahlia embarrassedly replies that she is a decent young lady and will not eat everything. She firmly states that she is not ready for such experiments, though she smiles as she expresses her gratitude for his concern. But in the end, Dahlia agrees that if she is offered something out of the ordinary, she will gladly accept it. Her face lights up with joy. She is genuinely grateful to Isaac for his attention and care. At that moment, Maximilian appears, holding a weapon on his shoulder, and notices Dahlia's presence with a chuckle. He asks what the maid is doing here, and his face expresses a mixed feeling of surprise and displeasure. Maximilian says with a sneer that he thought Isaac wasn't interested in women at all. He emphasizes that despite his words, Isaac turns out to be just like any other ordinary man. Isaac, remaining calm, replies to Maximilian that it's time to stop assuming that everyone around him is just like him. He defends Dahlia's honor by showing that there is nothing inappropriate between them. Isaac explains that his room was dirty and needed cleaning, which is why Dahlia is here. He calmly talks about it, showing that the whole situation was completely innocent. Maximilian, grinning, says that he came in time to see this. He defiantly points out that his suspicions were in vain, but still doesn't hide his displeasure. Suddenly, Dahlia notices blood on the floor and notices that there is a herd of rabbits grazing near the outhouse. She realizes that something terrible has happened, and her face expresses a mixture of horror and determination to get to the bottom of the situation. Dahlia, standing with trembling hands and tears in her eyes, recalls Maximilian's words about how he decided to use all the people he had killed for dinner. The thought causes her horror and sorrow, filling her heart with fear and despair. She realizes that she has no power to change what has happened, and it tears at her soul. Isaac appears in the hall with a rifle, forcing Dahlia to obey the Viscount's order. She slowly lowers her head, realizing that she has no choice. She has to put up with Isaac's threatening stare, realizing that any disobedience could end fatally for her. Maximilian notices Dahlia and wonders why he has never seen her here before. This makes him suspicious, but he decides to observe her further. His interest in her grows, and he begins to wonder what secrets she is hiding that brought her to this place. Dahlia, exhausted and depressed, tries to leave, but Isaac roughly grabs her arm, ordering her to get out. She has no choice but to comply. Her eyes are filled with pleading and fear, but she dares not resist, knowing that it could have unpredictable consequences. Maximilian enters the room and notices that Dahlia is still on the floor. He reminds her that she has lingered here and must move on despite her fear. His voice is full of sternness and impatience, letting her know that her time for pity and tears is over. Dahlia tries to explain that she needs to attend to the sack, but Maximilian interrupts her, insisting that she leave immediately. He will take care of the sack himself, making it clear that she is superfluous here. His determination and authority leave her no choice, and she is forced to comply. Maximilian tells his friend that he just chased Dahlia away. The friend suggests asking her to cook a roast, which seems like a good idea to Maximilian. He begins to see it as an opportunity to take advantage of her skills and add a sinister touch to the ordinary, which is to his liking. Maximilian, with a sly smile on his face, agrees that it is indeed not a bad idea. The idea cheers him up, and he decides to put it into action. He anticipates how it might affect Dahlia and the future developments, forcing her to fulfill his dark desires. Dahlia, cleaning her room, asks Isaac if he is lonely living in a separate annex. She looks at him with genuine interest, clearly worried about his loneliness. Isaac replies that he has Hoover and a host of animals that occasionally visit him. Dahlia smiles, and Isaac reminisces fondly about his furry friends. Isaac tells how he once fed rabbits he saw nearby. They had taken up residence in the barn like a house. As he recalls this, he smiles, much to Dahlia's surprise and admiration. Dahlia, hearing this story, cannot imagine how this is possible. She marvels at Isaac's care for the animals and his kindness. Isaac promises to show her his rabbits next time. His soft smile and kind eyes make this moment especially touching for Dahlia. Dahlia recalls that everyone who sympathized with or cared for Isaac either disappeared or died. This moment causes her anxiety and fear for Isaac's fate. Dahlia, standing at the kitchen table, is worried about whether Isaac is okay. Her face expresses worry and concern. She is thinking about his safety. Edina notices her concern and asks if she's okay. Dahlia replies that she is just a little tired, trying to hide her true feelings. Edina tries to cheer Dahlia up by reminding her that she has a vacation in a few days. This calms Dahlia down a bit, and she agrees with her friend. Dahlia brings Isaac the book and the 2 bottles of ink he requested. Isaac thanks her, noticing that she looks tired. Dahlia tries to reassure him that she is fine, but her look betrays an inner struggle and worry. Dahlia, with a smile on her face, remembers that tomorrow her long-awaited vacation begins. The maid, blushing slightly, thanks Isaac for the opportunity to rest, realizing that her absence will bring some changes to her routine. As she says goodbye to Isaac, Dahlia clenches her hands into fists, realizing that she will not return until the new year. Her eyes are full of determination as she prepares for the trip and mentally thanks fate for this break. Isaac watches the departing Viscount return to school. This means that Isaac will be living in the outhouse again and will have to adjust to a new way of life without the usual support of Dahlia. Isaac has a servant who will help him with household chores, but he still feels that he will miss seeing Dahlia often. This change worries him, and he looks forward to her return. Dahlia feels obligated to protect Isaac. Her desire to care for him, even from a distance, has not diminished. She's determined to continue to be there for him, even if only mentally. She doesn't want Isaac to feel alone. Dahlia is confident that she can help him, even if she is far away. She realizes that her presence is important for his peace of mind. Her tea has gone cold, and Dahlia offers to brew a new one, but Isaac refuses, informing her that there is something more important. This suddenly catches her attention, and she is alarmed. Isaac takes her hand and explains that he wants her to fulfill something important. He writes it down and hands her a sealed envelope that should not be opened yet. Dahlia takes the envelope, promising not to open it until a certain point. Isaac asks her to do so later when she gets on the train. This sparks her interest and slight excitement. Looking at Isaac, Dahlia feels warmth in her heart. His care and attention touches her to the core. They both realize that their bond will not be broken despite the distance. Dahlia, having finished her work for the day, glanced at Isaac with slight trepidation, waiting for his reaction. Isaac nodded approvingly, letting her know that everything had been done correctly. A sense of relief and joy lit up Dahlia's face, for praise from Isaac meant a lot to her. Isaac reminded Dahlia that she was going to visit her sister at the orphanage and asked her where the orphanage was. Dahlia, a little confused, replied that the orphanage was in Cherkovales. There was a note of excitement in her voice and hope that everything would go well. Isaac repeated the name of the town thoughtfully, realizing that it was quite far away. He frowned, realizing that the trip was going to be long and possibly difficult for Dahlia. His face reflected an internal struggle between concern and the need to let her go. Dahlia, noticing his hesitation, apologized, not understanding what the problem was. Her heart clenched at the thought that she might have disappointed Isaac, but he sighed and asked her to forget about it, trying not to show his true feelings. Isaac wished Dahlia good luck on the road. A smile shone on her face as she thanked him sincerely for his kind words and support. Her eyes sparkled with joy and gratitude. She felt more confident for the upcoming trip. At the train station, an announcement was heard that the train to Cherkovales would be leaving soon. Dahlia hurried to the platform, nervous not to be late. She listened carefully to the latest announcements and felt a slight excitement for the road ahead. On the train, Dahlia sat by the window, thinking about her upcoming meeting with her sister. Her mind was spinning with thoughts of how the meeting would go and what she would tell her sister. She tried to calm down and put herself in a positive frame of mind. Dahlia's attention was drawn to an envelope she had found among her things. With slight surprise, she opened it and found money inside. Her heart beat faster. She couldn't believe her eyes. She was shocked and thought about how much she would have had to work to earn such a sum of money. This gift was like manna from heaven for her family. Dahlia couldn't hold back tears of gratitude. Dahlia realized it was a letter from Isaac. She read it carefully, wondering what errand had cost such money. Thoughts of the unknown well-wisher didn't leave her the rest of the way, giving her strength and confidence. Isaac writes a letter to Dahlia, apologizing and explaining that he added some vacation money to her. He counters that she would not have agreed to accept them directly. Isaac notes that his last encounter with Max shocked Dahlia. He is truly sorry and offers the money as an apology, not knowing how else to make amends. Dahlia, upon receiving the letter, is overwhelmed by Isaac's generosity. She realizes that Isaac is trying to take care of her and feels grateful for his attention. Isaac explains that he himself cannot leave the estate and therefore does not need the money. He asks Dahlia to spend it on what she really needs and to tell him all about it after she returns. Dahlia accepts the money from Isaac, realizing that he genuinely cares for her. He wants to know what she will buy and where she will visit. It is important to him to hear her stories. Dahlia decides to accept Isaac's offer for his sake. She realizes that it is important to him and that he wants her to be happy and take care of herself. Shortly after receiving the letter, Dahlia meets her younger sister, Laurel. The girl joyfully throws herself into her sister's arms, happy to see them after a long separation. Dahlia takes care of Laurel, chiding her for running around, which causes the girl to cough. She admits that she has been waiting for her sister since the morning and was worried about her health. The two sisters decide to go out to dinner together. Dahlia takes her sister's hand, and they walk happily forward, savoring the moment. Laurel is full of joy, holding her sister's hand, and the two of them head to the restaurant, ready to spend time together, discussing plans and sharing worries. Dahlia, a young girl, shows her sister Laurel the contents of a suitcase. Inside are clothes and toys meant for Laurel. Laurel, seeing this, expresses concern that Dahlia has spent too much on these items. Laurel is surprised at the amount of candy and other things Dahlia brought. She thinks they are too expensive, but Dahlia assures her that she doesn't have to worry about that, and that their mutual acquaintance lord gave her the money for it. Dahlia reminds Laurel that she serves a lord on the estate. He gave her money that she can spend here. Laurel is interested and asks if she's referring to that smart and sweet lord she mentioned earlier. Dahlia confirms that he is exactly that lord, smart, sweet, and kind. She describes him as a great listener and says that he lets her borrow his books to read, which makes her very happy. Further, Laurel, remembering Dahlia's words, notices that the Lord also has a beautiful voice and manner of speech, emphasizing his kindness and politeness. She begins to realize how much she likes him, which makes her blush slightly. Laurel suddenly asks Dahlia enthusiastically if she likes the Lord, which causes Dahlia to have an unexpected reaction. She is embarrassed and answers in surprise, trying to figure out if she really likes him. Dahlia, realizing how her words could be misunderstood, tries to explain that she meant his kindness and outward attractiveness, not that she likes him romantically. Her embarrassment only grows. Laurel is surprised by Dahlia's words and questions her. Why couldn't she like a man like this lord? She tries to understand her sister's motives and feelings, causing Dahlia to reflect. Dahlia, smiling embarrassedly, reassures Laurel, assuring her that she is kind, beautiful, and good at her job. She also expresses confidence that the Lord likes it too, lifting her sister's spirits. Laurel, clearly pleased, continues to encourage Dahlia despite her embarrassment and asks her not to say anything stupid. They both smile, enjoying their time together, discussing common interests and things to do. Dahlia, with a bright gleam in her eyes, asks her sister about the case they discussed earlier. She is burning with interest and wants to know what happened to Jenny. There is excitement and slight anxiety in her voice, for Jenny was very dear to her. Her sister reminds Dahlia that Jenny, the same Jenny from the candy store, has married the Marquis. This news causes Dahlia to reflect on her own destiny and the opportunities that may lie ahead of her. She feels mixed feelings of joy and sadness for her friend. The friend assures Dahlia that she is much prettier than Jenny, and her destiny will definitely be better. The name Laurel comes up in the conversation, filling it with warmth and familial closeness. This support helps Dahlia feel confident in herself and her abilities. Realizing that it is getting late, Dahlia suggests that her sister go to bed. Her eyes reflect care and love for her younger sister, whom she leads by the hand. This moment shows how important family ties and caring for loved ones is to Dahlia. Dahlia confirms that Jenny has indeed married the Marquis. Her eyes are full of determination and confidence that her words are correct. This statement reinforces her belief that happiness is possible for anyone who pursues it with a pure heart. The sisters recall meeting Jenny at the orphanage, where everyone knew her story. This encounter was an important event in the sisters' lives, leaving a deep mark in their hearts. Their memories of Jenny evoke warm feelings and gratitude for the moments they spent together. Jenny's destiny is presented as a hurricane romance with the Marquis, which brought her a rise in status through marriage. This story has inspired many girls who dream of a similar fate. Jenny became an example to them that dreams can come true if you believe in them. However, late in her pregnancy, Jenny had to seek refuge in the nearby slums. Her life changed dramatically and unexpectedly, forcing her to go through many hardships. This moment shows how unpredictable life can be. Jenny gave birth to a child and soon left this world. Her farewell letter left a deep mark in the hearts of those who knew and loved her. It became a final reminder of her strength and courage, inspiring others to keep fighting for their happiness. Jenny's story, alas, was not the only one. Angela and Milena were also victimized, but their fates remain unresolved. These tragic stories are a reminder of how fragile human life is and how important it is to appreciate every moment. Dahlia reflects that even as an orphan, she and her sister deserve better treatment. Her eyes reflect a deep sadness and determination to change their lives. She is determined to fight for their rights and not let anyone treat them unfairly. Dahlia knows that there are challenges ahead of them, but she is ready to fight for a better future. Dahlia holds the letter in her hands, convincing herself that Sir Isaac is another man who will not do the same cruelty to them as the others. She believes that his kindness and honesty will help them through any obstacles. The letter became a symbol of hope for Dahlia, strengthening her resolve to fight for justice. Isaac stands in the middle of the battlefield, surrounded by mannequins. He knows what it means to be rejected and abandoned, as he himself has gone through many hardships. His eyes are full of bitterness and determination to change his fate. Isaac realizes that his past should not determine his future and is willing to use his experiences to help others. Remembering how Isaac treats the servants, Dahlia feels hopeful. She believes that Isaac is different and his kindness can change their fate. His attention to the little things and his care for each person admire her. This inspires Dahlia to fight for justice and strengthens her belief in a better future. Isaac says he is always willing to listen to Dahlia if she feels like discussing something. This brings her a sense of comfort and reassurance. He is sincere in his intentions and is always willing to help. Dahlia feels that she has found in him a friend and protector who will support her in difficult moments. Dahlia is sure that if Isaac likes someone, he will be sincere and caring. This thought strengthens her hope for a better future. She believes that Isaac is capable of deep feelings and sincere affection. His caring and consideration for others makes him a special person in her eyes. Despite her low social status, Dahlia believes that Isaac can see something valuable and important in her. This inspires her to fight. She is determined to prove that she deserves a better life and can succeed. Dahlia is willing to overcome any hardship for the sake of a brighter future. Dahlia suddenly realizes that her thoughts have been distracted from her goal. It's all because of the words Laurel spoke. She feels the need to focus. Dahlia realizes that she must be strong and focused to meet the challenges. Her will to fight and her desire for justice becomes even stronger. Dahlia apologizes to Laurel for lying to her. She admits that she bought things with money set aside for emergencies to keep them safe. Dahlia explains that she acted in good faith, wanting to protect them. Her words are full of sincerity and regret, but also show her care and responsibility. The sisters begin a new chapter of their lives, full of hope and confidence that a better future lies ahead thanks to Isaac's kindness and support. They believe that together they can overcome any difficulties and build a happy life. Their hearts are full of gratitude and determination to go forward despite all obstacles. Dahlia realizes the importance of the money she has. She realizes that she cannot spend it thoughtlessly because it is extremely important to her. Looking at her savings, she decides that she needs to set them aside for the future to use when the time comes. Dahlia carefully tucks the money into an envelope and places it in a drawer. She thanks Mr. Isaac for his help and support. Dahlia intends to express her sincere gratitude to him when she returns. Dahlia stands with a determined expression on her face. She does not want to return home empty-handed and is determined to find a way to improve her situation. Her gaze reflects an inner strength and willingness to fight for her goals. Several weeks pass. Dahlia returns to a luxurious estate with fountains and manicured gardens. The atmosphere around her is bright and joyful, emphasizing the significance of her return after a long absence. Edina greets Dahlia cheerfully, saying that she has missed her. Dahlia smiles back, happy to see her friend again. The reunion is filled with warmth and friendship, emphasizing their close relationship. Dahlia surprises Edina by informing her that she needs to urgently change her clothes and go to meet Mr. Isaac. Edina, thinking that Dahlia has the day off, wonders why she is in such a hurry. Dahlia quickly runs off up the stairs, promising to help Edina with the cleaning later. Edina is surprised by her friend's speed and determination, but realizes that Dahlia has important things to accomplish. Edina looks after the fleeing Dahlia and marvels at her speed. She realizes that Dahlia is on her way to the outhouse to meet with Mr. Isaac. Edina is amazed at how determined her friend is. Dahlia, after overcoming many challenges, returns home with a new understanding of her goals and a determination to change her life for the better. Her journey is inspiring and filled with hope for the future. Dahlia, dressed in her maid's uniform, walks down the hallway, contemplating whether Isaac will like the gift. She has chosen it with great care, hoping he will not be disappointed. Her steps are sure, but in her heart she feels a slight trepidation, fearing that the gift may not live up to his expectations. Despite her doubts that the item is old, she is confident in her choice. Dahlia holds the box tightly in her hands, determined to make a good impression. Her face expresses a mixture of hope and anxiety. She believes that this gift will be a symbol of her care and attention. Dahlia approaches the door behind which Isaac is standing and introduces herself. She knocks, waiting for permission to enter, feeling slightly anxious. Her mind is racing with thoughts of how best to present the gift so that it will make the greatest impression on Isaac. Isaac allows her to enter, and Dahlia apologizes for the inconvenience. She timidly enters the room, holding the gift and hoping for a positive reaction from him. Isaac's gaze meets hers with interest, and Dahlia tries not to show her nervousness. Isaac greets Dahlia with a welcome back, but Dahlia notices his damaged face. She is instantly concerned about his condition and feels her heart clench with worry for him. Her thoughts immediately turn to his health, forgetting for a moment about the gift. Dahlia worries about the wound on Isaac's face. She offers to look at his injury to make sure everything is okay. Her caring tone and genuine concern reflect the depth of her feelings for Isaac, which she tries not to show overtly. Isaac reassures her, telling her that everything is fine and asking her not to worry about it. Dahlia tries not to show that she is still worried about him. She realizes that his pride won't allow him to show weakness and respects his desire to remain calm. Dahlia, trying to change the subject, wonders how Isaac's vacation went and how his sister is doing. She tries to keep the conversation going to distract him from his pain. She sounds genuinely interested and wants to know more about his life. Isaac replies that the trip went well, and Laurel, his sister, is fine as well. Dahlia realizes that he doesn't want to talk about his condition and decides not to insist. She is happy for him, feeling relieved that at least in this aspect his life is going well. Isaac tells her how surprised he was to see how much his sister has grown since the last time he saw her. He is genuinely happy to see the positive changes in his life. Dahlia listens to his story with admiration, noticing how warm memories light up his face. Dahlia noticed that Isaac, with whom she stood in the room, had grown dramatically recently. She was shocked by his sudden change in height and questioned him, trying to understand what had happened. She couldn't hide her surprise and waited tensely for an answer, hoping to learn the reason for this change. Isaac surprisingly confirmed that he had noticed his change in height over the past few weeks. Dahlia was shocked that such a change could happen so quickly. She wondered how it was possible and paid attention to every detail of his appearance, trying to find an explanation. Isaac wondered how much a person could change in a short period of time. He was clearly intrigued and concerned about this phenomenon. His thoughts took him far away, and he tried to understand how his body could adapt and change so quickly. Dahlia, with amazement on her face, noted how much taller Isaac had become. She was amazed and couldn't believe what was happening. Her amazement turned to admiration, and she scrutinized Isaac, trying to make sense of what she saw. She suddenly realized that she would soon be 15, and was surprised that Isaac was younger than she was. It was an unexpected revelation to her. She couldn't understand how it was possible, since Isaac had always seemed so mature and grown up. Thinking to herself, Dahlia realized that Isaac seemed more mature than she had thought. She found it hard to believe that he was younger than she was. Thoughts and doubts swarmed through her mind as she tried to match his appearance with his age. Isaac noticed that Dahlia had been holding something in her hands the whole time. He questioned her about the object she was holding and offered to help. His interest was genuine, and he was willing to do his best to figure out her intentions. Dahlia was embarrassed and explained that it was her gift to him. She wanted to make him feel good by giving him a surprise. Her excitement was evident, and she waited anxiously for his reaction, hoping that he would like the gift. It turned out to be a book. Dahlia had tried to choose the most interesting book to surprise Isaac, despite the slightly shabby cover. She had put a lot of care and attention into the selection, hoping that the book would give him joy. Dahlia explained that her gift might not compare to what Isaac had given her, but she hoped that he would accept it. Isaac gratefully accepted the book, assuring her that the gift was very dear to him. He was touched by her attention and appreciated her efforts, realizing how much it meant to her. Dahlia had long wanted to read the book Isaac had given her. She expresses her gratitude and can't wait to start reading. Isaac is pleased that the book has brought her joy. There is a lightness and sincerity in their interaction that makes this moment special for both of them. Isaac sees Dahlia's face brighten. She is happy to have such a gift. This brings a smile to Isaac's face. He is pleased that he was able to do something nice for her. At this moment, an invisible bond is established between them, which emphasizes their closeness and mutual respect. They walk down the stairs together. Isaac reminds Dahlia that she has vacation for the rest of the day and advises her to rest. He also tells her that she no longer needs to come to a certain room. This surprises Dahlia and sets the tone for further conversation. Dahlia wonders if Isaac will be returning back to the outhouse. Isaac confirms that he moved back in a few days ago. This causes Dahlia to be surprised, and she begins to wonder about the reasons for his return and the significance of this act. Dahlia contemplates the idea that Isaac was purposely waiting for her here in case she couldn't find him. This causes her inner turmoil and mixed feelings that she tries to make sense of. Perhaps Isaac wants to be closer to her and maintain their relationship. Isaac enters the room and locks the door. He does this in case Dahlia can't track him down. Dahlia watches his actions with some excitement, and she wonders what exactly is going on behind that locked door. Dahlia opens the door and offers her help with errands if she needs it. It is important to her to be helpful and support Isaac in his endeavors. There is a genuine desire to help and be there for him in her words and gestures, which makes her offer all the more meaningful. Isaac asks with a smile if Dahlia is sure of her offer. It's important to him to know that she's doing this of her own free will. Dahlia firmly affirms that it is her job, and there is a confidence and determination in her voice that leaves no doubt about her intentions. Isaac admits that he didn't express himself the way he meant to, but is glad that Dahlia is willing to help. Their communication becomes more sincere and warm, creating an atmosphere of mutual understanding. This moment strengthens their relationship and brings them even closer together. Dahlia says that they will see each other in the outhouse, expressing confidence in her words and support for Isaac. She is ready to keep working and be there for him. Her words are filled with sincerity and care, emphasizing the depth of their mutual feelings and affection. Isaac reflects on how he has never had trouble getting the right things to the estate, yet for the first time in his life, he receives a gift. His face expresses surprise and slight joy at the event. Isaac, holding the book in his hands, looks forward to reading it. He goes out for a walk in the beautiful garden, feeling the light breeze and enjoying the view of nature around him. Suddenly, he is interrupted by the voice of Ermina, who informs him that she has heard that he has returned to the outhouse. She shows her imperious nature and expresses her displeasure at his behavior. Ermina abruptly asks Isaac why he is leaving the manor, despite her repeated orders not to. Her tone becomes harsher and more demanding. She is clearly not happy with what is happening. Carla, standing next to her mother, notices the book in Isaac's hands and suggests that he has probably forgotten something. She tries to smooth things over by showing understanding and concern for her brother. Ermina recalls that she has told Isaac several times to leave such tasks to the servants, but he continues to act in his own way. She is concerned that this could lead to trouble. Carla reassures her mother by reminding her that it is difficult for servants to serve Isaac, and offers to turn a blind eye. She promises to inform the head maid to avoid future problems. Isaac, feeling his sister's support, continues his walk, reflecting on his difficult relationship with his mother and how important it is to have the support of loved ones despite the difficulties. Carla met the young man, and his cold gaze expressed displeasure. She asked him what he wanted, standing in front of him surrounded by trees. The scene was a reminder of the upcoming conversation, full of tension. Dahlia noticed the wound on Carla's face and immediately realized it was Max's doing. She was alarmed and demanded an explanation. The situation became even more tense when she began to find out more. The young man, with an indifferent expression on his face, stated that he was willing to take a slap or two from her if that's what she came for. His calmness seemed almost defiant. All he asked was that she finish this as quickly as possible and leave. Carla, keeping her cool, replied that she had no intention of physically harming him. Her calm tone was reassuring, but her gaze expressed hardness and determination. She expected an explanation, and this emphasized the seriousness of the situation. The young man, realizing that Carla had no intention of hitting him, told her to just leave. But Carla didn't budge, showing that she had many more questions. Her eyes were determined to get to the bottom of what had happened. Carla rebuked him for pissing Max off. She was angry and demanded an answer as to what good would come out of his provocations. It was an attempt to appeal to reason and sanity. The young man confidently pointed out that Carla didn't understand the whole situation. Max started first, and his anger stemmed from an unfair decision in a family meeting. He felt that his behavior had been justified. He revealed that Max was angry when he learned that the young man's proposal had been chosen. All the young man did was mutter a few phrases in response to Max's superiority during the chess game. The situation seemed trifling to him. Carla irritably interrupted him, telling him that it wasn't about that. She demanded to know exactly what he had said to Max after the game. Her gaze expressed her determination to get to the truth. Carla had accused him of threatening Max. The young man couldn't deny it, realizing that his words had dire consequences. Carla insisted that he not do it again, begging him to stop provoking her for the sake of peace in the family. Isaac, coldly turning his back on Carla, asks her to go home without wasting time on him. Carla, perplexed, looks at him, feeling the tension in the air. Her eyes fill with determination as she senses that her conversation with Isaac will take an unexpected turn. Carla moves closer and decisively states that his actions affect her too. She threatens that if he causes trouble again, she will make sure his sister gets hurt too. Her words are full of threat, and she hopes Isaac will realize her seriousness. Isaac is taken aback by her words, clarifying exactly who she is talking about. Carla confirms that she is talking about Dahlia Belor, the girl who visits his chambers almost every day. Her mention of Dahlia makes Isaac think, and he feels his heart begin to beat faster. Carla is sure Isaac won't like seeing someone he cares about suffer. She squeezes his hand, reminding him that she has the right to intervene. Her gesture inspires awe in him, but Isaac tries to keep his cool. Isaac coolly pulls his hand from her grip and coldly says that he knows what she's capable of. His calmness scares her, and she realizes that Isaac isn't as simple as he seems at first glance. Isaac admits that he has allowed Carla and her family to manipulate him as they please and has never tried to change his position. Carla realizes how deep his contempt for them runs. His confession surprises her, and she feels guilty. Isaac calls Carla bright and hopes she won't do anything stupid knowing all this. She feels their relationship becoming increasingly strained. His words sound like a warning, and she realizes she is on the verge of something important. Isaac states that he doesn't like the way Carla is trying to take control of him. His voice is full of threat, making her realize the seriousness of the situation. He makes it clear that he will no longer allow her to control him. He reminds her to listen to herself, and that he doesn't want to share a fate with their mutual acquaintance. Carla sees the image of the one he mentioned in front of her and realizes how serious this is. Her fear grows, and she begins to question her actions. As they say goodbye, Isaac smilingly wishes Carla to be careful on her way back. His words sound a warning, and she walks away, realizing that the game is becoming increasingly dangerous. Carla realizes that she will have to be careful in the future to avoid being in even more danger. Carla, shrouded in a white sheet, awaits the arrival of her maid. She looks tensely toward the door, as if anticipating an important conversation. Delia soon appears, holding a tray of whiskey as her mistress had requested. Carla watches her intently, as if assessing her every move. Carla looks intently at Dahlia, who brings the whiskey. Carla's face expresses a mixture of anticipation and hidden anxiety. Dahlia, with glowing green eyes, looks both frightened and determined as she prepares to do her mistress's bidding. Carla begins to wonder about Dahlia. The thought that this monster could be kind to the girl flashes through her mind. A softness appears in her eyes, and she decides to talk to Dahlia to find out more about her feelings and thoughts. Carla's memories take her back in time. She sits in a stately chair, realizing how envious everyone is of her life. But no one knows the cost of that life, suffering under the darkness that has infiltrated their family. Carla continues to reflect on her situation. She realizes that she is forced to act as if she is oblivious to all the sins her selfish father commits in the name of the family. She has to put up with cruelty and hypocrisy. Carla bitterly recalls how she has to turn a blind eye to all the lives her abusive family has taken. She feels the weight of responsibility weighing on her shoulders and sees no way out of this darkness. The flashbacks continue, and Carla remembers having to clean up the dirt after her brother after his raucous pleasures. It is hard for her to accept, but she has to put up with it for the sake of maintaining a semblance of well-being. Carla realizes that she is being groomed to be sold to another rich, nasty, and dirty family. She sees a piece of cake in front of her that symbolizes her role in this world, to be a mere commodity, an exchangeable coin in the games of adults. The sight of the cake in front of her makes Carla disgusted and indignant. She realizes that she does not want this fate. She wants to fight for her freedom and the right to an independent life, not to be a puppet in the hands of family intrigue. Carla, looking at the cake, decisively declares to herself that this is not what she wants. Her eyes are full of determination, and she is willing to do whatever it takes to change her fate. She is determined to fight and not give in to manipulation. A dramatic event occurs in Carla's family. An illegitimate son appears, which shocks everyone. During a family dinner, this news causes a tense atmosphere, forcing all family members to take a new look at their lives and future. Carla's mother faints, and Max, unable to bear the stress, runs away from home. Carla's whole world begins to crumble, and this event becomes a key turning point in her life. An incredible sense of anxiety fills her heart, not giving her peace for a moment. Carla, possessing the dark side of her nature, is excited to have someone in the house who will be worse off than her. This shows her inner struggle and the difficulties she faces. Envy and anger are mixed with feelings of relief and schadenfreude. Events unfold as Carla begs her father to let her see her illegitimate brother. Despite being guarded, Carla is eager to understand and learn more about her new family reality. She is willing to do anything to achieve her goal and uncover the truth. Carla travels to the city of Ankh, which is known for its lawlessness and danger. She ventures on this dangerous trip for her goal. The dark streets and ominous atmosphere do not frighten her, but only fuel her determination to discover the truth. In the low neighborhoods of the city lives Renee, the girl who gave birth to Carla's brother. Carla feels strong emotions looking at this poverty and destitution, realizing how difficult Renee's living conditions are. Her heart fills with pity and fear for her brother's future. Carla finds the house where Renee lives. Worried, she orders her guards to wait outside, preparing to meet the truth face to face. She can feel the excitement stiffening her body, but her determination won't let her stop. As she approaches the house, Carla smells blood and realizes something terrible has happened. She is overcome with terror, anticipating trouble. The smell makes her heart beat faster, filling her mind with dark thoughts. Inside, she finds a body and is horrified to think it is Renee. Thoughts of her brother become unbearable, and Carla fears the worst. The sight of the bloody scene before her eyes makes her horrified and feel the gravity of the situation. She meets the boy and asks him if he is Isaac. He confusedly denies, and Carla realizes that the man in front of her is not her brother. All this time, her inner world has been crumbling, revealing new, dark truths to her. Now it's up to her to deal with the fallout and find her real brother. Carla recalls the moment she met Isaac. Isaac stood in the dark, with a grim expression on his face and bloodstains on his clothes, claiming his name was Isaac. Carla's gaze expressed consternation and bewilderment. Isaac pointed the knife at Carla, questioning who she was and why she was acting like she knew him. Isaac was clearly agitated and confused, his eyes glowing red, and there were traces of blood on his face. Only Renee knows who he is. Carla questions what is going on. Isaac looks at her in disbelief, and she notices the blood on the knife. Her eyes flicker with horror and confusion as she tries to figure out who Isaac is with. Carla, realizing the situation, comes to the conclusion that Isaac may have killed Renee. This discovery causes shock and fear in her, and she begins to cry, worried about her brother and what has happened. Carla decides to reveal the truth to Isaac. She shouts out that she is his sister, Carla Jurgenschultz. She hopes that this will help him come to his senses and remember who she really is and stop his aggressive behavior. Carla explains that she has come to bring him home on behalf of their father. She is holding a locket, a symbol of their family, trying to show that she is really his sister and wants to help him. Carla realizes that before she can bring Isaac home, the mess must be dealt with. She reflects on the fact that Isaac hides something more under the mask of a man pretending to be a helpless ghost. Carla describes Isaac as a monster who doesn't understand the why. Question. She sees him in the carriage, holding a book, with a facial expression full of incomprehension and inner struggle. Carla remembers how she has become more independent and stronger. She is no longer the girl who is easily manipulated. Carla is confident in herself and her actions, ready to face any challenges. Carla is talking to Dahlia, one of the youngest maids on the estate. She asks how long Dahlia has been working here and expresses her desire to learn more about life on the estate, showing her friendliness and willingness to help. Dahlia hears from Carla that the head maid praised her a lot. Carla noted that despite her short track record, Dahlia was intelligent and good at manual labor. Dahlia modestly tried to object, but Carla assured her that there was no need to be modest. Carla added that it wasn't just about the praise, but also about the problem with Isaac. The topic caused Dahlia noticeable concern. Carla noticed her reaction and advised her to relax, hinting that it was all because of her earlier warning. Carla admitted that she'd been watching Dahlia lately and had changed her opinion of her. She noted that Dahlia wasn't careless like the other girls and was very careful, which made her in charge of things at the outhouse. Carla continued to talk about Isaac, noting that he wasn't as bad a guy as he might seem. Dahlia confirmed that Isaac was sweet and kind, quiet and a good person. Carla emphasized that despite his kindness, the way he lives his life is a disgrace. There is no one on the estate that he can call a friend, and he is not free to come and go as he pleases. Carla added that the head maid has no pity for him. She said that she wanted to ask Dahlia for a favor without immediately revealing exactly what it was about. Dahlia was surprised when Carla asked her to take a walk with Sir Isaac. The suggestion shocked her, and she could hardly understand why Carla would want her to. Hoover, Isaac's servant, flatly refused to allow Dahlia to take a walk with Isaac. He insisted on his refusal despite Dahlia's desire to speak to Isaac in person. Dahlia tried to object, saying that she wanted to ask Isaac directly, but Hoover abruptly cut her attempt short by repeating his no. He was adamant in his decision. The conflict was escalating, and each side held their own beliefs. Dahlia felt she was in a difficult situation, and the tension between the parties involved only increased. At the manor, Dahlia arrives at the door where she is greeted by Hoover. Isaac, who has just returned, asks what's wrong. Dahlia is worried, but Hoover calms her down by turning to Isaac. Hoover suggests that Dahlia take a walk around town, but she refuses, fearing the Duchess's wrath. Hoover persuades her, and Dahlia, embarrassed, agrees, though she realizes the consequences. Isaac, learning of Hoover's proposal, is surprised and questions her. Dahlia confirms that she is willing to go along for the ride if it pleases Isaac. His reaction remains uncertain. Hoover happily agrees to accompany Dahlia. Isaac reluctantly agrees and decides to change for the walk. Dahlia is excited, anticipating an interesting day. Dahlia waits for Isaac, radiant with joy. She recalls the day Lady Carla gave her an important order and item, a family crest with which to freely leave the estate and return. Lady Carla explains to Dahlia the meaning of the crest, giving her freedom of movement. This has engendered in her a sense of trust and responsibility. She listens carefully to Carla, realizing the importance of the moment. Carla explains that Isaac is not yet ready to accept the coat of arms. She says she doesn't hate him, but warns Dahlia against getting too close to him until he is worthy. Lady Carla also warns Dahlia to be careful not to get in her mother's or Max's face. She wants to protect her from trouble. Dahlia realizes the seriousness of the admonition. Isaac points Dahlia to a mountain in the distance and asks if it is Giant's Backbone. Dahlia happily confirms, feeling the wave of adventure the day brings. Isaac remarks that the mountaintops must look like this all year round. Dahlia confirms that the snow on the peaks can be seen even in the summer. This increases her admiration and interest in the journey. Dahlia, upon meeting Isaac, is surprised that he has never seen a certain person before. Isaac replies that he has always been at home and has only read about such things as he now sees around him. They walk down the snowy path, discussing their surroundings. Dahlia remarks that there are indeed many mountains in the area, and adds that Isaac has only read about such places, but has never visited them. Dahlia suggests that Isaac take her hand so that he doesn't get lost, and he agrees. Together, they continue the journey holding hands, symbolizing their growing trust and affection for each other. For the first time, Isaac goes into town, and the first thing he wants to visit is a bookstore. Dahlia notes that he is predictable in his desires and is always eager to learn new things. In the market square near the fountain, they find an old bookstore that Dahlia says was opened 120 years ago. This piques Isaac's interest and admiration. Isaac calls out to Dahlia, inviting her to join him outside the bookstore. He waves to her, showing her where it is and inviting her to come inside. They enter the bookstore, and the atmosphere inside strikes them with its old-fashioned charm and rich selection of books. Dahlia tells Isaac with a smile about how the store has changed over the century. Isaac, immersed in his book study, is excited to share his findings and new knowledge with Dahlia. They spend time in the store discussing interesting books and sharing their thoughts. After leaving the store, Dahlia and Isaac continue to explore the city, enjoying its cozy atmosphere and discovering new places and experiences, which strengthens their friendship and mutual understanding. Isaac, wearing an elegant gray coat and scarf, enters the store and asks to see one of the scarves. His gaze is focused and confident as he points his finger at the chosen item. The atmosphere in the store is cozy, with flowers and books all around. The saleswoman politely agrees and begins to prepare the scarf for wrapping. She tells Isaac the price, but suddenly realizes who is standing in front of her and apologizes in a panic for her inattention, calling him Lord. Isaac calmly pulls a special plate-like object from his pocket and hands it to the saleswoman as payment. The saleswoman is even more embarrassed, realizing that the person in front of her is indeed a high-ranking person. She offers to bag the scarf and asks if he needs anything else. Outside, after completing her purchase, Dahlia approaches Isaac to ask about the item he used to pay for it. She is surprised and a little puzzled, as it was not a normal payment instrument. Isaac explains that it is his family plate, a sort of identification card. He adds that you can use it for purchases, and the bill for everything is sent later to the estate. Dahlia is stunned by this discovery. Dahlia's memories take her back to the moment when Carla, the girl with the long red hair, handed her the powerful object. She can't believe that Carla actually gave her something so valuable and important. Isaac notices that Dahlia looks confused and, gently holding her by the shoulders, asks if she's okay. He asks her to stand up straight and calm down, showing care and consideration. Isaac tells Dahlia that she looks lovely. She replies in embarrassment that this can't be true, believing that Isaac is too kind to her. A warm rapport develops between them. Isaac gently embraces Dahlia and asks her to stay close to him. His eyes are determined and ready to protect her. Dahlia feels his strength and care, realizing that she is safe with him. Dahlia remarks that the roads in this place are too narrow and it is dangerous. Isaac agrees, his gaze becoming more focused. He holds Dahlia's hand, their bond growing stronger. Dahlia smells the scent of a fresh winter night coming from Isaac. She immerses herself in the memories of his changes, noting how much he has changed over the years. Dahlia and Isaac walk through the snowy streets. Dahlia notices the sign of a bookstore and happily points it out. Isaac, being close by, smiles demurely as he follows her. At the bookstore, Isaac helps Dahlia pull a book from the top shelf. Dahlia notes to herself that Isaac has gotten a little taller, which gives her warm feelings and nostalgia. Isaac and Dahlia embrace. Dahlia recalls how Isaac has changed not only outwardly, but also inwardly, becoming stronger and more confident. These changes make her admire and proud. Dahlia recalls how when they first met Isaac was pale and thin. Now he is much stronger and healthier, which makes her feel happy and pleased with his progress. They continue their walk through the city, enjoying the views. Isaac points to something in the distance, and Dahlia looks in that direction with interest and curiosity, feeling secure around him. They enter a store where they see a teddy bear with an extravagant bow. Dahlia notes its beauty and unusualness, which makes her smile and enjoy it. Isaac asks if she likes the teddy bear, and Dahlia answers in the affirmative, thinking it is a great gift. They exchange glances full of warmth and understanding. Isaac remarks that they should be heading back to the manor soon, fearing that the Duchess will notice their absence. His voice turns serious, which causes Dahlia a slight unease. Dahlia replies that she doesn't care if the Duchess scolds her. She is ready for the yelling and possible punishments, but next to Isaac, she feels confident and ready to overcome any difficulties. Dahlia ponders how someone can talk about violence so easily without realizing how horrible it is. She is horrified at the thought that people can be so used to physical violence that it has become the norm for them. Dahlia is walking down the street with Isaac and notices a teddy bear in a store window. She wonders if there is anything she can do to help this man and finds the thought disturbing. Dahlia informs Isaac that she needs to step away on business for a while. She assures him that she'll be back soon, and he agrees, suggesting that she take her time and settle her affairs. Inside the pharmacy, Dahlia approaches an elderly apothecary with a request for ointment. He remembers that he has one jar left and hurries to fetch it for Dahlia. The apothecary explains that it is the best ointment around for removing scars, though the young people know little about it. Dahlia says she heard about it by the edge of her ear from someone, and it piqued her interest. Dahlia recalls hearing about this ointment at her previous place of employment. The Baroness scolded the servants so much that the ointment became a necessity among them. She decides to purchase the ointment despite her memories. Dahlia decides to buy the ointment and asks about the price. Her desire to help someone makes her resolve even stronger, and she is willing to pay any price for the remedy. She takes a beautiful box out of her pocket, wondering if she can pay for the ointment with it. There is clearly something valuable in the box, and Dahlia ponders whether it is worth it. However, she decides that she wants to do it in person without using Isaac's belongings. She wants her act to be entirely her own, a symbol of her care and involvement. Dahlia is determined to do something good on her own. She thanks the apothecary and leaves with the ointment, hoping that her act will help and make a difference. Dahlia, while not possessing much money, still proudly proclaims that she is a hard-working woman who earns her coins through honest labor. She is confident in her abilities and believes that she is able to purchase the necessary ointment for Sir Isaac. As she buys the ointment, Dahlia encounters judgmental stares and whispers from those around her. They wonder how she could afford such an expensive item, doubting her honesty and trying to question her status. Dahlia, trying to ignore the envious people, strides forward confidently. Her goal remains to help Sir Isaac, and she doesn't let evil tongues lead her astray, remaining calm and determined. Some of those around her, noticing her confidence, begin to suspect that the expensive scarf Dahlia is wearing is a gift, not a purchase. They continue to discuss her behind her back, not believing she could afford such a luxury. Dahlia hears them accuse her of wearing a scarf worth 30 pieces of silver, and it shocks her. However, she decides to ignore these attacks and not waste her time with explanations and excuses. She decides not to waste her energy on the envious people and heads to the vendor to finalize her purchase. The salesman thanks her for her purchase, and Dahlia maintains her resolve and does not give in to outside pressure. However, in the store, she accidentally runs into a woman who openly expresses her displeasure. Dahlia apologizes, but her rival continues to mock her situation, trying to humiliate her in front of others. The woman assures everyone around her that she doesn't know what Dahlia is talking about and pretends not to be involved in these attacks. Her hypocrisy amazes Dahlia, but she tries not to give in to her emotions and keeps her composure. On the street, Dahlia is found by Isaac, who has been worried and looking for her everywhere. He notices her upset state and asks questions, trying to figure out what happened and why she was so delayed. Isaac guesses that something is wrong and asks her about it. Dahlia, hurt and upset, lowers her head, not wanting to tell him about the incident, but his support and involvement helps her cope. Dahlia, holding onto the tray with the black glove, sensitively offers to return it to Isaac. She realizes that accepting such generous gifts from a lord may cause other people to misjudge her. Isaac says, with a serious expression on his face, that he will not give her expensive gifts from now on. He realizes that she is worried about how it will be perceived by those around her. Dahlia explains that such things are not appropriate for her and could cause rumors that she stole them. It is important for her to keep her reputation intact and not give cause for gossip. Isaac, a little discouraged, insists that he only wants to give her the best. He believes that expensive gifts emphasize her virtues and make her even more beautiful. Dahlia gratefully notes Isaac's kindness, but continues to insist on her own. She recognizes his intentions, but she cares more about her own peace of mind and the respect of others. Isaac, sighing, agrees with Dahlia and promises to be more careful in the future. He understands her concerns and respects her wishes, even though it is not easy for him. However, he cannot resist one last gesture and asks Dahlia to accept one more gift. This one gift, he says, will be a reminder of their sincere feelings. Dahlia accepts the gift, realizing that the gesture comes from the heart. She feels the warmth and care that Isaac puts into this final gift. Inside the gift box is a beautiful ribbon decorated with an exquisite pattern. Dahlia recalls seeing a similar ribbon on a teddy bear they had recently seen together. This ribbon becomes a symbol of their affection and fond memories. Despite all the difficulties and obstacles, their feelings remain unchanged, and they find a way to keep their bond intact. Dahlia holds a teddy bear with a beautiful lace bow. Isaac says that this piece of jewelry would look better on her than a toy. Dahlia stares at the gift in confusion, realizing its value and beauty, and feels her heart begin to beat faster. Questions arise in her mind as to the reason for the gesture, and she tries to hide her excitement. Dahlia is amazed at the detail and quality of the lace bow. She thinks that such an expensive accessory cannot be an ordinary gift. Her thoughts are full of doubt and admiration. She recalls all the times she dreamed of such a piece of jewelry, but never thought it would end up in her hands. Her gaze glides over each exquisite element of lace, and she feels her soul fill with warmth. Isaac reassures her, telling her it's a gift she could have bought with her paycheck. Dahlia examines the bow, her mind clouded with suspicion and worry. She begins to question her hunches, trying to figure out if she is really worthy of such a gift. Her hands are trembling slightly, but she holds the bow tightly, hesitant to let go. Isaac wonders if Dahlia will be able to accept the gift. She ponders his words anxiously, unsure of the right thing to do. Her inner voice argues with logic, and she feels the whole world shrink around her as she waits for her answer. Isaac's eyes are full of understanding, and it gives her some reassurance. Finally, Dahlia decides to accept the gift. She thanks Isaac, promising to keep that precious bow forever. Their eyes meet, and an understanding develops between them. In that moment, she feels like she has made the right choice, and she feels the invisible bond that has sprung up between them. This promise made to her becomes a symbol of their relationship. Dahlia asks Isaac to give her his hand for a moment. Isaac is surprised, but extends his hand, not realizing what she is about to do. His gaze is full of questions, but he trusts her. She gently takes his hand in hers, her touch soft and warm, giving him an unexpected sense of peace and security. Dahlia applies an ointment to Isaac's hand that heals the wounds without a trace. Isaac is amazed by her attention and care, realizing that her gesture is symbolic and important. He feels the pain gradually fade away, replaced by a feeling of warmth and gratitude. This moment strengthens their bond, showing how important they are to each other. Dahlia can't forget the day she saw the bandage on his face. Her thoughts return to the moment when Isaac was wounded. She remembers his pain and determination, which makes her heart ache for him even more. This image haunts her, keeping her restless and making her think about how she can help him. She knows that Isaac couldn't have gotten hurt that badly by accident. Dahlia is determined to find out who hurt him. Her heart clenches with worry. She decides to find out the truth, despite the possible consequences. Her desire to protect Isaac grows even stronger, and she is willing to go all the way to get justice. Embarrassed, she asks whether it was the master or the mistress who inflicted those wounds on him. Isaac remains silent, his face remaining serious, steeped in memory and pain. She sees his eyes fill with sadness, and her determination to find out the truth only grows stronger. She feels that this conversation could change their lives forever. Isaac holds Dahlia's hand in the sunset sunlight streaming through the windows. He promises to be there for her in times of need and asks her to turn to him for help. Dahlia doubts that she can help Isaac, but her eyes are full of sincerity and determination. Her blonde hair shines in the light of the setting sun, emphasizing her inner purity and goodness. Isaac convinces Dahlia that she should call on him in any situation. He jokingly suggests that she might grab his hand and run with him. There is a flicker of surprise and embarrassment in her eyes. Dahlia explains that no one should keep their problems to themselves when things get tough. Her words are filled with care and warmth, as if she feels the weight of other people's worries. Their conversation is transported to the backdrop of a cityscape. A streetcar rides through the streets of the city, creating an atmosphere of old-fashioned romanticism. Isaac asks if he is sure he wants to help. Dahlia looks at Isaac with genuine excitement. She tries to understand why he cares for her so much and why he is willing to help in any situation. You can see the deep gratitude in her eyes. Isaac replies that he is worried about Dahlia because he likes her. His words are simple and sincere, but they touch her to the core. The rays of the sun illuminate her face, adding even more warmth to her image. Isaac continues, explaining that it is natural to care for those you care about. His words are full of seriousness and depth, reflecting his true feelings for Dahlia. Dahlia closes her eyes and smiles. She believes that all good children deserve to be happy, and her smile is full of sincerity and light, reflecting her kindness and concern for others. Dahlia, holding a small vessel in her hands, reflected on the generosity of ordinary people. Questions arose in her mind as to why people showed kindness and generosity. However, her thoughts were soon replaced by determination. She confidently reflected on having power and influence through her actions and connections. At this point, she realized that she no longer needed to worry about the opinions of others to achieve her goals. Isaac, lying on his bed, remembered Dahlia's words, convincing himself that he deserved to be happy. These thoughts gave him confidence and strength to move forward despite all the difficulties. However, painful memories were arising in his mind. He recalled a woman telling him that he would never be good. Those words hurt him and tormented his soul. Horrible scenes from the past surfaced in his mind. A woman bleeding, telling him that he had done something horrible. These images reminded him of his guilt and pain. He recalled the moment he killed his own mother. It was the hardest memory he could not forget. That act of violence haunted him, making him feel guilty. Isaac's mother, Renee, was a woman with a difficult fate. Her life was full of suffering and struggle. She was a courtesan who did what she could to survive in a harsh world. Renee was a victim of hatred and persecution. She escaped from her enemies and found refuge in Anka's brothel. This period was filled with fear and danger, but she did not give up. She took care of her son and taught him to be careful. She warned him that they were still threatened by assassins and that he had to stay safe. Renee had to lead a horrible life in Anka, but she found the strength to keep fighting. At times, she vented her anger on the children, which made their lives even more difficult and painful. Renee saw the children as little more than tools to be manipulated and used to achieve her goals. She kept them under control like a puppeteer, directing and using them for her own benefit. The children were merely a vehicle for social advancement and revenge. With every move, Renee wove a web, pulling them deeper into her intrigues, leaving them no chance for independence or escape. Hoover was someone to take all his anger and aggression out on. He suffered from constant orders and humiliation, reminding himself every time that his situation was an endless struggle for survival. Renee often raised her hand against Hoover. His body was covered with bruises and scars from the beatings, a testament to her cruelty and injustice. This pain reminded him of his powerlessness and hopelessness. Hoover's constant screaming and crying echoed through the house, but no one came to help. These sounds were his only way of expressing his despair, but they only added to his suffering, making his life even more unbearable. Isaac felt helpless, unable to change his circumstances or escape from them. His only defense was to pretend to be small and inconspicuous to avoid Renee's anger and her cruel punishments. Isaac learned to get rid of emotions and feelings to protect himself from pain and fear. He tried to become as small and inconspicuous as possible, hoping it would help him survive in this cruel world. When it was over, Hoover would go over to Isaac and wake him up, telling him that it was all over. He tried to reassure him, showing him that despite everything, they were still together and could support each other. Hoover told Isaac that he didn't have to hide when his mother hit him. He explained that Renee never touches Isaac because he is different and his body is valuable to her. Hoover realized that he was different from Isaac. He realized that his life was one of endless pain and suffering, but he continued to protect his brother because he knew that his body had special value and importance to Renee. Isaac looked at the departing Hoover, who seemed unwilling to turn around. Isaac reminded him of the bread on the table and told him he would do the laundry. There was resentment and anger in his voice, but it didn't stop him from caring for his brother. Isaac felt his voice fill with resentment and anger. Despite this, he continued to care for his brother, even in the smallest things, such as the bread left on the table. Hoover, as always, was absorbed in his own thoughts and did not notice Isaac's efforts. Isaac walked to the table where the bread and knife lay. Despite the pain and hurt, he continued to care for his brother, realizing that it was his only way to keep in touch and protect him from the world around him. Sitting down at the table, Isaac began to eat the bread, reflecting on his role as the sole protector. Every action he took was to reduce the likelihood of conflict with the angry Hoover. He was trying to keep his brother safe. Upon receiving the letter from the Duke, Isaac realized that he could no longer hide as he had before. The letter forced him out of his comfort zone and into action. It changed all his plans and made him think about the future. Ermina, holding the letter in her hands, was furious. She couldn't believe that the Duke was only going to take Isaac, leaving her alone. In desperation, she shouted reproaches, unable to understand how Hoover could do this to her. Hoover, trying to calm her mother, said that everything is written in the letter and need to wait a little time for the Duke to take them both. However, his words could not calm Ermina, who was too excited. Suddenly, Hoover falls to the floor, the pain from the blow piercing him. Ermina screams in rage that he dares to unite them in the way he imagines. Hoover apologizes, realizing his mistake and his inability to understand his mother. Isaac, sitting in the corner, tries to protect himself from his mother's anger. He realizes that he cannot claim the same care and love as his brother Isaac. Ermina reminds him that he will always be only a pitiful semblance of a boy who doesn't even know his father. Lying on the floor, Isaac realizes that if he had done nothing, their lives could have turned out differently. Yet every action he takes is to protect his brother, despite the hardships and pain he is experiencing. Hoover, exhausted and trembling, realizes that it is over. His face expresses a mixture of relief and horror. He says goodbye to a past full of pain and suffering. His anxieties begin to subside. Ermina, with a last glimmer of life, turns to Isaac, informing him that now it is truly over. The deep wounds and blood on her face testify to the brutality of what has happened. Isaac recalls how he ended up killing the woman who gave him life. The scene of Ermina standing next to him, bloody and exhausted, comes to his mind. Ermina admits that she really liked Dahlia, but adds that it was only because she didn't know what kind of man Isaac really was. Her words sound like a sneer. Isaac reflects on the fact that the version of himself that Dahlia liked is who he really is. He is no longer the little boy who could be manipulated. Isaac is adamant that he will no longer suffer nightmares about her or despair over what happened in the past. He is certain that today will be the end of it. Ermina, laughing, calls him naive, recalling how his father threw her out on the street. Her mocking tone adds tension to the conversation. Isaac, struggling to contain his emotions, admits that Dahlia is just like Ermina. His voice shakes with pain and frustration. He realizes the cruelty of the situation. Dahlia reminds Isaac with fury that she will throw him away just as his father disposed of her. Her gaze is full of determination and hatred. Isaac, with hope in his voice, pleads for Dahlia to like him a little more. His desperation and fear of being rejected is clearly readable on his face. A week has passed since Dahlia and Sir Isaac's visit to the town, and everything is back to normal. However, this visit has gotten Dahlia into a lot of trouble. It's not easy being a maid, especially when you have to please all of your master's demands. Dahlia recalls how she had to face the wrath of the head maid. She, trembling with fear, tried to explain herself, but the older woman would not accept any excuses. Dahlia ended up being reprimanded, which didn't add to her confidence. With a sigh and broom in hand, Dahlia returned to her daily duties. She tried to keep her spirits up, but it was hard to stay calm when every day seemed like the previous one. The routine only partially calmed her. Rumors of Lady Carla's engagement were soon confirmed. Dahlia learned that a future husband had been chosen for her. The news had shaken the entire estate. It was an unexpected turn for many, and everyone was discussing who he was. It turned out that Lady Carla's future husband would be the infamous Earl, nicknamed Pig. His reputation was terrible, and the maids silently dreaded what this could mean for their mistress. Dahlia, too, felt anxious and uneasy. The maids whispered about Count Swine, discussing his double chin, huge belly, and thick legs. Dahlia heard someone mention that his fat folds were twice as thick as a girl's waist. That made her even more horrified. His victims were most often young maids. Their unenviable fate made Dahlia and the other girls fearful. It was believed that if they became pregnant by him, they would be immediately thrown out of the manor, which happened more than once. Rumors went further, going so far as to say that the Count drank his victims with poisonous mixtures to avoid future problems. Dahlia listened to these stories with a shudder, realizing that her situation was becoming more and more dangerous. At night, in the dark room, Dahlia couldn't sleep. She thought about how someone could do such horrors to other people. The words of one of the maids that the victims were helpless servants disturbed her even more. Edina, her close friend, lay next to her and quietly said that the victims were helpless and defenseless maids. Those words made Dahlia uneasy, and she realized that something had to be done to protect herself and others. Dahlia wondered why she couldn't ask Isaac for advice. She's sure he would have given a wise but cautious answer. In their difficult situation, she misses his support and advice. Isaac and Dahlia sit back to back in a dark, starry space. She ponders what they can do in such an unfavorable reality to change their fate and find a way out of their difficulties. Dahlia realizes that she constantly sees the situation not as it really is. Her thoughts are full of doubt and indecision, and she continues to be confused about her own feelings and assumptions. She recalls that Isaac is a man who cannot be considered her equal. Despite her feelings, Dahlia realizes that there is something between them that makes them unequal in the eyes of others. Edina, a young maid with red hair, notices something unusual. She catches Dahlia's attention by pointing out what is going on around them. Their work and surroundings are full of unexpected twists and turns. The other maids discuss why one of them is carrying lilies instead of roses. Dahlia assumes that there should always be roses in this room, and this unexpected change causes her concern and surprise. Edina explains to Dahlia that these lilies are for an anniversary. Dahlia is surprised to learn that it is a death anniversary. She asks whose jubilee it is, eager to understand the reason for this change. Lady Obrick's name comes up in conversation. Dahlia recalls Isaac mentioning the name earlier and realizes that there may be an important story behind it that relates to their current situation. Edina reveals that Lady Obrick was a daughter of the Viscount's family, and she was a devoted maid to the Duchess. Dahlia learns that Lady Obrick died about a year ago in an accident. Several of the maids raise some money from their modest wages to buy flowers for Lady Obrick's headstone. This gesture shows how much she meant to those around her, and Dahlia feels sadness at the loss. Dahlia asks Edina what kind of accident happened at the manor. Edina explains in a whisper that it's a big mystery. She says that a woman died from a fall and her body was found in an unexpected place. Edina continues to whisper, adding that the body was found near the outhouse. She informs Dahlia that some people are convinced that a ghost is involved, adding mysticism and tension to the conversation with this. Thelma, who happens to be nearby, cautions the maids. She asks them to refrain from talking about Lady Obrick on the estate. The Duchess may turn a blind eye to the fact that they are honoring the lady's death, but she will not forgive gossip. Thelma orders Dahlia to follow her. Dahlia obediently agrees, adding that she understands the need to follow directions. This scene emphasizes the strict discipline among the maids. In the library, Thelma hands Dahlia some books that Sir Isaac has requested. She orders Dahlia to take them to him, but warns her to make sure no one sees her. Dahlia nods and promises that she will go right away to fulfill the errand. She smiles despite Thelma's warning, showing her willingness to complete the task. But as she walks past the racks, Dahlia freezes. Remembering Thelma's words, she realizes that she did cross the line last time, and now she needs to be more careful. Thelma reminds Dahlia again to make sure that she doesn't get too close to certain people. Dahlia assures her that she understands that and will be careful. Thelma remarks that she has told her that many times before. Dahlia, feeling pressured and responsible, realizes that she needs to be more careful and watch her actions. Dahlia, a girl with light blonde hair, noticed a girl with lilies hiding among the trees. At that moment, she felt like she was revealing something important. Rustles and sounds of footsteps increased her wariness. She immediately thought of Maya Obrick and her youngest son, whose mysterious death had occurred near the outhouse. Gradually, a picture began to take shape, and Dahlia realized why she had been warned to stay away from Isaac. However, if Sir Isaac had indeed killed Lady Obrick, there were still inconsistencies that required explanation. Maya Obrick had been mentioned in the conversation, and Dahlia remembered that the Viscount no longer flared with anger at her name. That only made her more certain that the situation was more complicated than it seemed at first glance. She continued to ponder, still in a state of conjecture. Dahlia tried to put all the pieces of the puzzle together as various suspicions and theories popped up in her mind. Suddenly, Hoover, a man with red hair, approached. He looked wary and concerned. Dahlia noticed that since their last walk, he had become even more alert in her presence. Hoover pointed to her hair. Dahlia was confused, not sure what he was talking about. Her hair? What was wrong with them? She couldn't understand why it was such a big deal. Looking in the mirror, Dahlia saw that there was a leaf tangled in her hair. She was surprised and angry. Why hadn't Hoover told her about it right away? At this moment, her job of solving mysteries seemed especially difficult. Dahlia removed the sheet from her hair, feeling that this little incident had distracted her from more important matters. Her thoughts returned to the investigation and the dangers that might lurk around her. She handed over the books Isaac had requested. Trying to hide her worries, she smiled, hoping that her efforts would help shed light on whatever mysteries she was about to face. Dahlia gratefully accepts the gift from Isaac, who notes that she looks great with the ribbon. She notices that the room hasn't been cleaned yet and promises to take care of it right away. Isaac remarks that it's not necessary. Dahlia decides to do the job after all, but Isaac stops her, saying that it's not necessary. She is puzzled, as she is used to doing her chores. Isaac wants to talk to her about something important. Isaac is hoping for a conversation since he hasn't seen Dahlia in a while. He wants to discuss something important, so he gives her flowers. Dahlia is a little embarrassed, but listens to him carefully. Dahlia notices the lilies and tries to remove them, but Isaac asks to keep the flowers, promising to take them out himself later. He says that these flowers have a special meaning and will take care of them himself. They talk about the flowers, and Isaac tells her that these lilies are for Maya Obrich. Dahlia wonders how he knows about this event, since it happened before he arrived. Isaac explains that he found out about it later and wanted to do something special for Maya. Dahlia tells Isaac that she heard about it from some of the servants. Isaac wonders if it was the servants who shared the rumors and wonders what exactly they were saying. Dahlia tries to explain that the rumors are not important and wants to soften the blow as she senses that Isaac is uncomfortable with this. She embarrassedly replies that it is nothing important and not worth his attention. However, she adds that the servants have been saying all sorts of ridiculous things that she herself does not take seriously. She worries that these rumors might have hurt him and tries to appear calm and friendly. Isaac, smiling slightly, notices that the servants are probably accusing him of something. He has heard this kind of talk many times before, and it is nothing new to him. His calmness shows that he's used to these situations, but Dahlia realizes that it's only a mask hiding his feelings. He goes on to say that at the time, no one lived on the estate but him. The only one who liked to walk around the grounds of the estate was Lady Obrick. Isaac remembers those times with a slight nostalgia, emphasizing that his presence was obvious. Isaac understands why he is considered the prime suspect, but notes that hearing such accusations is still unpleasant. Dahlia shows sympathy, realizing that it must be hurtful. She tries to support him with a look, showing that she believes in his innocence. For Isaac, it's just another day in his life, and he doesn't mind the rumors. But his face expresses a hidden sadness and fatigue from the constant accusations. Dahlia notices this sadness and realizes that there is a deep sadness behind his calmness. Isaac states confidently that he knows that Dahlia does not believe the rumors, and that is the most important thing for him. Dahlia, nodding, confirms his words and inwardly rejoices that he understands her. She feels that there is mutual understanding and trust between them. Suddenly, Isaac approaches and startles Dahlia, to which she reacts with amusement and embarrassment. Isaac laughs, saying that his desire to tease her is only made stronger by her reaction. This moment eases the tension, and Dahlia begins to laugh with him, feeling more comfortable. Dahlia asks Isaac not to do this, as she is blushing profusely. Isaac continues to have fun, enjoying her embarrassment and the innocent sincerity that is in her. He sees her as a bright and pure soul, which bribes him and makes him want to protect her. Isaac embraces Dahlia, offering to step back, but she, embarrassed and confused, is unable to respond. The embrace turns out to be an unexpected and tender moment between them. She feels the warmth of his embrace, and for a moment forgets about all the rumors and accusations, enjoying this quiet moment of intimacy. Isaac gently embraces Dahlia, and she continues, confessing that she would rather disappear than face the day when he hates her. Her face reflects sadness and fear of losing the one she loves. Her words are imbued with deep despair and an unwillingness to feel the pain of disappointment. Dahlia believes that everyone around her will only be happy to see her disappear, for then the ghost of the outhouse, as she is often called, will be gone forever. She looks saddened and disappointed. These thoughts poison her mind, making her believe she is unwanted and alone. Isaac holds Dahlia tightly, denying her words. He says he would never want her to disappear, and her presence is important to him. She closes her eyes, finding comfort in his arms. Isaac is eager to show that her fears are unfounded, and his feelings for her are unchanged. Isaac smiles softly and asks how Dahlia can say such horrible things about herself. He is amazed at her dark thoughts and tries to dispel them with his own words. His voice is full of tenderness and reassurance, seeking to convey his genuine concern and love for her. He continues that she should not say such things. Isaac is confident in his feelings and wants Dahlia to know that he will always be there for her no matter what. He tries to instill in her confidence in himself and his worth by shattering her doubts. Dahlia sincerely admits that she really likes Isaac, and it's true. Her words are full of sincerity and tenderness. She feels that her love for him is genuine. It is important to her that he knows her true feelings, despite all the difficulties. She adds that it doesn't matter who or what anyone says about her. What matters to her is that he likes her. Isaac listens to her confession with gratitude and admiration. These words strengthen their bond, making it even stronger and more sincere. Isaac reassures Dahlia, telling her that she shouldn't worry about such things. He wants her to feel safe around him and not doubt his feelings. His reassurance and support helps Dahlia find peace and confidence in the future. Isaac notices to himself how innocent and pure Dahlia is. He admits that he has said foolish things, hoping that she will take pity on him. However, her comforting words and sincerity make him feel better. His heart fills with gratitude and admiration for her kindness. Isaac and Dahlia embrace, and Isaac thinks about how soft and warm she is. He wants this moment to last forever, realizing how much she means to him. This embrace brings him a sense of peace and happiness that he hasn't felt in a long time. Isaac is stunned when he realizes the depth of his feelings for Dahlia. His eyes are full of emotion and confusion as he tries to make sense of his feelings. It makes him think about how much she has affected his life and the changes she has brought about. Isaac feels awkward and ashamed, thinking that this is not the right time to show such feelings. However, he cannot contain his emotions, hugging Dahlia even tighter. He realizes that his heart is not listening to reason and is living his desires. Isaac denies his feelings, trying to convince himself that everything is only happening because of her presence in front of him. His face expresses his inner struggle and his desire to keep his composure. But he realizes that fighting these feelings is becoming more difficult by the minute. Isaac and Dahlia stand in an embrace, and his heart races. He thinks that maybe one kiss wouldn't be so bad, though he realizes the risk of his actions. He almost decides to do it, but doubt and fear of the possible consequences hold him back. Garen enters the room and notices Dahlia next to Isaac. He looks at them with interest, realizing that something is going on between them. His penetrating gaze leaves no doubt that he guesses Isaac's hidden feelings for the maid. Garen reports that he has received a strange document and wants Isaac's opinion. Dahlia stands nearby, feeling the tension in the air and waiting for further developments. She sees how important this situation is to Isaac and worries with him. Garen is surprised to see Isaac with the maid and asks her name. Dahlia is confused and tense, not knowing what to answer. Her heart sinks with fear of the possible consequences of this unexpected rendezvous. Isaac answers for Dahlia, explaining that her name is Dahlia Belor and that she is running an errand in place of the head maid. Dahlia is surprised and grateful for his intervention. She feels that Isaac is willing to protect her, and it makes her feel safe. When Garen allows Dahlia to go, he suddenly stops her, adding even more tension to the situation. Isaac and Dahlia froze, waiting to see what he would say next. A silence hung in the air, filled with anticipation and anxiety. Duke Garen informs them that his conversation with Isaac will take some time and asks them to bring tea. Dahlia anxiously agrees and leaves to run an errand, feeling anxious and indecisive. Dahlia recalls her recent kiss with Isaac and worries that someone might have seen them. Her thoughts are filled with anxiety, and she tries to figure out how to avoid the repercussions of the incident. In the hallway, Dahlia runs into Hoover, who is carrying tea for Duke. They exchange greetings, and Dahlia notices that Hoover also seems troubled about something. Hoover tries to take it upon himself to deliver the tea, but Dahlia insists that the Duke has assigned it to her. Their argument becomes increasingly tense, but Dahlia is not about to give in. Hoover is perplexed as to why she was entrusted with this task. Dahlia advises him to ask the Duke himself, suggesting that the situation is not as simple as it seems at first glance. Hoover begins to guess something, but dismisses the thought as impossible. His bewilderment increases, but he decides not to interfere. Dahlia resents being accused of flirting with Isaac and Duke, believing it to be unfair. She does not understand why such intentions are attributed to her and tries to defend her honor. She apologizes, but Hoover continues to insist, blaming all women for the obviousness of their actions. Dahlia is outraged and cannot understand why Hoover is so set against her. Hoover, despite his jealousy of Isaac, recognizes his affection for Dahlia. He still remains wary, unsure of how to further his relationship with Dahlia. Dahlia brings tea into the study, where the Duke is discussing important matters, and joins their conversation. She tries to look confident despite her inner turmoil in recent events. Dahlia, holding the teapot, stares in surprise at the strange letters. She doesn't understand what is written in them and ponders that it might be a foreign language. The old Duke explains that the style of the letter is formal rather than religious. Isaac, after reading the letters, notices that they have clearly rewritten the system to increase profits. Dahlia is amazed that Isaac is able to fully understand the content of the letters. Her amazement grows. The Duke suggests sending someone to assess the state of the other duchies. Dahlia agrees, but realizes that Isaac will have to find out if prices are the same everywhere. This task becomes even more difficult. She decides it's time to go home. The courtyard is lit by the evening sun, creating a warm atmosphere. Dahlia ponders the complexities of the task ahead and prepares for the next steps. The Duke orders Dahlia to take all the books and scrolls and follow him. Isaac confirms the order as he prepares for his new mission. Dahlia, wasting no time, takes the books and prepares to go. Isaac reminds Dahlia to return safely. His concern for her is noticeable, which gives her mixed feelings. She realizes that his support is important to her. On a walk with the Duke, Dahlia notices him praising Isaac for his concern for her. The Duke says that Isaac is really showing attention. Dahlia is embarrassed, but thanks him for his kind words. The Duke reassures Dahlia that he sees Isaac's concern. He confesses that he may not be the best father, but he can recognize sincere feelings. This confession causes her to have warm feelings for Isaac and his family. The Duke asks Dahlia for a favor. The evening light creates an atmosphere of trust and sincerity. Dahlia is ready to fulfill the Duke's request, realizing the importance of the moment and the possible consequences. The Duke opens up to Dahlia, confessing that he wants to atone for his sins to Isaac. This confession shocks her, but she understands his feelings and promises to help him in this important endeavor. Garen reflects on his sins as he tries to atone for them. He blames himself for failing to protect Isaac's mother and Renee. These events gnaw at him, and he searches for a way to make things right while worrying about Isaac's future. Garen reveals that Isaac's mother disappeared with the infant, fleeing his wife's threats. He was heartbroken to learn that they were hiding in a dilapidated settlement. This knowledge causes him deep pain and regret. Upon arriving at the settlement, Garen found that Renee was nowhere to be found, and Isaac was alone. This increased his feelings of guilt and responsibility for the boy, causing him to reflect on his actions and their consequences. Garen continues his search for Isaac's mother, but so far has found no trace of her. His hope to meet her again and regain her trust becomes his driving force. He seeks to restore lost ties and atone for his mistakes. Garen decides to build a solid foundation for Isaac, despite the fact that the latter cannot be his heir since he is not the firstborn. The complete lack of brotherly love between Isaac and Max rules out their cooperation in the future. Dahlia realizes that this is not Isaac's fault. She supports Garen in his desire to give the boy a chance at a decent future by providing him with a stable life and opportunities for development. To provide Isaac with a stable life, Garen plans to give him a title of nobility and a small plot of land. This should provide him with independence and confidence in the future. Garen is confident in Isaac's intelligence and wisdom. Dahlia agrees with him, noting that Isaac is very intelligent and capable of handling the tasks assigned to him, which inspires her confidence. Garen recalls how Isaac seemed slow to him at first, but then was surprised when the boy began to successfully study the subjects of the Royal Academy on his own. His pursuit of knowledge and perseverance amazes Garen. Garen has tried to atone for his sins and secure a better future for Isaac, who, despite his difficulties, shows himself to be an intelligent and capable young man ready for new challenges. Dahlia is amazed at the speed with which Isaac has grasped all of the academic material. What took Max 6 years, Isaac mastered in less than a year. She doesn't understand why Duke Garen is so concerned, since in her opinion, Isaac's performance is outstanding. Garen sighs, pointing out Isaac's lack of ambition. Despite his abilities, the boy shows no desire to move forward or develop. Garen worries that such talent may go unrealized and wasted without proper motivation. Garen is troubled by Isaac's lack of ambition. He notices that the boy does not strive for success and shows no interest in any kind of achievement. Isaac does not seem to have a single goal that can inspire him to move forward. Garen realizes that he can provide Isaac with all the resources he needs for a successful future, but this will not help unless Isaac himself wants to accomplish something. He feels that his efforts may be in vain if Isaac does not find the inner drive to develop. Garen makes a request of Dahlia. He wants her to help Isaac find his ambitions and goals in life so that he can realize his potential. Garen believes that Dahlia will be able to be a positive influence on Isaac and awaken in him the desire for more. Dahlia is surprised by the Duke's request. She feels that such an important task should be entrusted to a more experienced person, not her. She feels underqualified and is afraid of failing in her responsibility. Garen reminds Dahlia that she was the one who took Isaac to the city. It was a significant event for the boy, and it was Dahlia who was able to influence him. He emphasizes that she has already played an important role in Isaac's life and can continue to have a positive impact on him. Garen himself can't believe he said this out loud. He realizes how important this is and hopes that Dahlia is up to the task. It seems incredible to him that she will be the one who can help Isaac find meaning in life and motivation to grow. He knows that Isaac has a hard time being around strangers and wonders if Dahlia was able to talk him into going to the city. Garen hopes that her influence will help Isaac find his way. He sees Dahlia as the force that can bring Isaac out of his state of apathy and indifference. Garen, the Duke, returns to the castle and goes straight to Dahlia. He looks determined, as if he has something important to announce. The stately setting of the hall emphasizes the seriousness of the moment, creating an atmosphere of tension and expectation. Garen's gaze is staring off into the distance, as if he is pondering important words. Upon his return, Garen approaches Dahlia and informs her that he has personally asked his wife not to punish her for her misdeeds. There is a flicker of relief and surprise in her eyes, for she did not expect such support. Garen tries to convey to her that her efforts have been noticed and appreciated. Garen tries to explain to Dahlia that Isaac is willing to do anything for her. He is willing to leave the abandoned wing of the castle to spend time with her, which causes Dahlia to have mixed feelings. She begins to realize how strong Isaac's feelings for her are, and it touches her heart. The headmaid informs Garen that Dahlia lost both of her parents in the war. He realizes that this has created a kinship between her and Isaac, as they both endured a difficult childhood. This shared pain has brought them closer together, making their bond especially strong and meaningful to both of them. Dahlia is confused and hesitant to answer Garen. He reassures her, telling her that she shouldn't think she's being pressured. He is willing to provide Isaac with whatever he may need to support and protect Dahlia. His words fill her with new confidence. Dahlia is taken aback by Garen's words. He only asks her to push Isaac to open up and be willing to accept it all. There is hope and determination in her eyes again. She realizes that she must be a support for Isaac, help him to open up about his feelings and fears. Dahlia thinks deeply about whether she is up to the task. She realizes that Garen wants Isaac to listen to her and for her to help him do certain things. Her thoughts are filled with doubt, but also determination not to let down those who believe in her. She decides that she will help Isaac open up and overcome his fears. Her eyes sparkle with determination, and she confidently declares that she is up to the task. A new hope for a future filled with light and understanding dawns in her heart. Dahlia reflects on Isaac's talent and genius, believing that his abilities are too great to remain locked away in a small outhouse. She is convinced that his ideas and skills would be of great benefit to the world if they were given the opportunity to develop. Dahlia realizes that Isaac is more than just a set of abilities. She realizes that his value goes beyond his mental capabilities and wishes him a better destiny than the one he has now. She dreams of Isaac being able to shed the prejudice of his background and be accepted by society as the son of a duke. This would open many doors and opportunities for him to fulfill himself. If Isaac could achieve this, he would become part of high society and find his place among those who valued and respected him. This would also be a great accomplishment for him personally. Dahlia is convinced that Isaac deserves a happier life than the one he has now. She is willing to do whatever she can to help him achieve it. Garen agrees with Dahlia and promises to do everything he can to make sure Isaac can get what he deserves. He realizes that his support could make all the difference in Isaac's fate. Dahlia decides that she will start with management lessons to prepare Isaac for life in high society. She believes that his knowledge and skills will help him feel confident among the nobility. Isaac reluctantly agrees to these lessons, not understanding why the Duke is so insistent on his education. He has always refused, and now he is not sure what has changed. Dahlia wants to understand the reasons for his reluctance and asks him about it. She hopes that the conversation will help her find the right approach and convince Isaac that the lessons are necessary. She realizes that Isaac is simply afraid of change and lacks confidence. Dahlia decides to be by his side and support him on this path, believing that together they can overcome all difficulties. Dahlia sits on the couch and Isaac lies on her lap with a book on his face. She hates having other people in her personal space, but she's never talked about having her in the room. Dahlia, with glowing eyes, says that Isaac is the one exception to her rule. This confession becomes an unexpected and important moment in their relationship, emphasizing her special regard for him. Isaac continues to lie there, the book still covering his face. Dahlia is confident in his intelligence and believes that he will quickly master all knowledge. Isaac feels that sitting through these classes is a waste of time. Dahlia sadly notes that Isaac will never be able to put what he has learned into practice. Her eyes express deep sadness as people will mock him just thinking about it. Isaac's memories and thoughts call him a pitiful boy, a ghost. This reflects his inner struggle and doubts about his own abilities and place in the world. In the reverie, Dahlia hugs Isaac, asking him not to say such things or think of himself in such a way. She truly believes that none of this is true and wants to support him. Isaac looks up and wonders if enough time has passed. He ponders whether he should try to get involved in classes again, perhaps to find meaning in them. Dahlia is worried, but suggests that if Isaac really doesn't like it, he should just stop the class. Her concern for him is obvious, and she tries to support him at all costs. Isaac finally realizes that Dahlia really wants him to learn. She happily confirms that this is her wish, calling him her master. Isaac is surprised and wants to know why. Dahlia confesses that she was ordered by the master of the manor to force him to obey. Inwardly, she realizes that she can't exactly say why this is so important to her. In a dark room, they sit side by side, trying to find answers to their feelings. Isaac wants Dahlia to be successful and accepted by society as a member of the ducal family. He expresses his expectations, hoping that she will be the pride of the family. These words should inspire her to aim high and become worthy of respect. However, Isaac is indifferent to these expectations. When someone addresses him, he turns away, showing his indifference. His indifference emphasizes his inner conflict and alienation from the outside world, making one wonder about his real feelings and motives. They discuss the Duke, who is confident and has the respect of those around him. Everyone bows their head to him. The mere mention of his name causes awe. The Duke symbolizes the ideal to which Isaac aspires, and his strength and confidence serve as an example to all. Dahlia dreams of Isaac becoming an object of discussion and admiration, so that people ingratiate themselves to him. She hopes that this will bring them both happiness. Her dreams reflect her desire to see Isaac recognized and respected, which will emphasize their shared status and position in society. Her companion assures her that Isaac is willing to do many things for her, including leaving the abandoned outhouse to spend time with her. These words give Dahlia confidence that her feelings are mutual and that Isaac truly cares for her despite his indifference. Isaac, despite his outward indifference, agrees to the proposal. He recognizes the opportunity to become a full member of society and promises to take Dahlia to balls and other events. His agreement shows that he is willing to go along with his feelings and Dahlia's desires. Dahlia is sure that she will be the happiest girl in the world if this happens. She dreams of going out together with Isaac, imagining how they will shine together at balls and celebrations, attracting everyone's attention. Isaac asks Dahlia if this is what she really wants, and she confirms her desires, genuinely excited at the prospect. Her confidence and joy are conveyed to Isaac, causing him to wonder about his real feelings and desires. Dahlia fantasizes about putting on an unusual dress, taking Isaac's hand, and them walking down the stairs together. She is excited about the upcoming evening, where they will be able to show themselves in all their glory and enjoy each other's company. She describes the dress in detail, imagining how the white ribbons and details will complement its opulence. Dahlia has never worn high heels and is excited about how it will change her look. Her excitement and anticipation is conveyed through these details, emphasizing the significance of the upcoming event to her. Dahlia, with excitement in her eyes, admits to Isaac that she can only dance the polka. She doubts that this dance is appropriate at balls, and smiles embarrassedly as she looks at him. Isaac, a little puzzled, smiles back, apparently deciding what to do next. A confused Dahlia explains that she has only been to a ball once in her life. With that phrase, she tries to demonstrate her skills by reminding herself of dance moves. Isaac watches her, surprised and trying not to laugh so as not to offend the girl. Isaac can't contain his laughter and hides behind the closet door to hide his emotions. Dahlia, noticing this, feels even more awkward and begins to question whether her dancing skills are really that bad. She sincerely tries to justify herself. In an attempt to rectify the situation, Isaac suggests that Dahlia come closer. He takes her hand and begins to explain the basics of the waltz, trying to do so as gently and delicately as possible so as not to embarrass her further. Dahlia listens intently, trying to memorize every move. Isaac explains that the waltz begins with the partner taking the girl by the waist and shoulder. He demonstrates this by gently taking Dahlia by the waist and shoulder, which makes her feel a little more confident. There is a determination in her eyes to master this dance. Isaac begins to count. 1, 2, 3. Dahlia, following his movements, begins to feel the rhythm and fluidity of the waltz. Gradually, they begin to move in unison, and the room fills with the melody of their steps. The atmosphere becomes more romantic and magical. Dahlia begins to make a mistake and steps in the wrong place. In a panic, she apologizes to Isaac, fearing that she has made him uncomfortable. But he calms her down, telling her that it's no big deal, and asks her to relax and keep dancing. Isaac, with a smile, suggests that Dahlia tried dancing while standing on his feet. The suggestion causes her surprise and embarrassment, but she agrees, relying on his reassurance and support. Her eyes go wide with surprise. Dahlia, fearing that she might get Isaac's shoes dirty, expresses her doubts. Isaac, however, reassures her that everything is fine and asks her not to worry. He continues to lead her in the dance, showing his care and attention to her. Isaac asks Dahlia to relax and take her time. They continue to dance, enjoying every moment. There is a mutual understanding and warmth in their eyes that makes this moment especially magical and meaningful for both of them. Dahlia and Isaac dance in a beautiful room, and Dahlia learns to follow his movements, trusting his leading completely. She feels at ease in his arms, despite feeling a little insecure. In this moment, she realizes how important it is for her to be close to Isaac and feel his care and support. Isaac, confidently leading the dance, receives compliments from Dahlia on his many skills. The question about when he learned to dance brings a smile to his face and memories of the past. He relates that his journey to dance was long and difficult, but he overcame all obstacles through his perseverance and pursuit of excellence. Isaac recalls his training in etiquette and dance when he first came into this world. He says that this training was a mandatory part of his life, despite all the difficulties. Each lesson was a challenge for him, but he realized that it was necessary for his future and status in society. His memories continue, and he recalls how, as an illegitimate son, he was forced to be the first to learn etiquette lessons, which only made him want to quit. He felt the injustice and loneliness, yet he kept going forward without giving up. Nevertheless, he overcame his inner obstacles and now readily shares his knowledge and skills with Dahlia, who supports him. He realizes that all his efforts were not in vain, and now he can help another person find their way in life. Isaac promises Dahlia that he will become an important member of the family and will definitely take her to the ball. His determination and confidence inspire her with hope for a bright future. She sees in him not only a talented dancer, but also a strong, reliable man on whom she can rely. Dahlia admires Isaac, his innocence and kindness. She sees him as a man with a pure heart, despite his adult appearance. His every act shows how caring and attentive he is to her, and this makes her feel deeply grateful. Isaac continues to reflect on how his heart remains childlike despite his adult appearance. He feels like a duckling who has found his mother in the person of Dahlia. She has become a light in a dark world for him, and he can't imagine his life without her. He has made an idol of someone who has shown him kindness, seeing Dahlia as his mentor and protector who has given him a drop of warmth in a harsh world. He realizes that without her support and love, he would have had a much harder time coping with all of life's trials. Isaac realizes that when he leaves the outhouse and joins the other nobles in high society, he will be ready to explore the vast world outside with Dahlia's support. He is confident that together they can overcome any obstacles and achieve everything they dream of. Dahlia is sure of one thing: Isaac will eventually forget the maid he once knew. She stands among the blue flowers, her golden eyes glowing in the night, full of determination and sadness. This moment will be the beginning of a new chapter in her life. In the grand study, Garin, sitting behind his huge desk, gives orders to his servant. He demands to go and begin Isaac's lessons. The servant, bowing respectfully, promises to do his best. This assignment is important to the Duke. Garin, leaning over the table, reflects that this was the right way to go. His face reflects firm determination and confidence in his actions. He knows he must follow through with his plans no matter what. The image of his ex-wife appears before him. Her silhouette, as if woven from the stars, reminds him of the past. He realizes that all he has left to do is return to his roots and finish what he started. Garin sits in an empty hall, surrounded by luxury and memories. He ponders what part of the world Dahlia is now in. His thoughts are overwhelmed by questions and unanswered feelings from the past. Carla, his daughter, appears at the door and calls him father. He allows her to enter, his voice filled with weariness and sadness. Their meeting is filled with tension and misunderstanding, but she is eager for answers. Carla admits that she has seen the teacher and wants to know who will study with him. Garin coldly replies that the matter is none of her business. She feels alienated and unnecessary, but continues to seek the truth. Garin confesses that he has lost count of the number of times he has told Carla that there is no point in her going into the details of family matters. His fatigue and frustration are evident, but he doesn't want her to get involved. Carla realizes that's not the reason she came. She is about to talk about something important, and her eyes, full of determination, meet his. A new dialogue begins between them that could change their lives. Carla and Garin found themselves in a grand castle filled with luxury and elegance. Garin was troubled, his face betraying tension. Carla listened to him carefully, realizing the importance of the upcoming conversation. Her eyes glittered with determination to help Garin. Garin shared with Carla about the mysterious threat looming over their kingdom. His voice was full of anxiety, and Carla felt her heart clench. She knew this was not just a problem, but something far more serious than they could have imagined. Carla suggested they look for answers in the ancient books and manuscripts in the castle library. She hoped there would be clues among the ancient texts that would help them deal with the threat. Garin approved of her suggestion, though his gaze remained grim. In the library, Carla found an old book covered in dust. Opening it, she saw illustrations depicting ancient rituals and symbols. She felt that this book could be a clue. Garen watched her, hoping she was on the right track. They began to study the book together, delving into its mysteries. Each page revealed new riddles and symbols that seemed to be connected to a real threat. Carla and Garen felt they were getting closer to a clue, but the questions only multiplied. Carla found mention of an abandoned temple in a book that could help them. Garen decided that they should head there immediately. Carla was ready for the adventure, despite the dangers that might await them. Arriving at the temple, they felt its mysterious atmosphere. The walls were covered with the ancient symbols they had seen in the book. Garen felt wary, but Carla believed they would find answers here. They began to explore the temple, hoping for the best. Inside the temple, they found an altar with ancient artifacts. Carla felt that these artifacts had magical powers that could help them. Garen was cautious, but Carla insisted on using them. They took the artifacts and headed back to the castle. While returning, Carla and Garen encountered an unexpected obstacle, dark magic that tried to stop them. Carla used artifacts to neutralize it. Garen marveled at her bravery and determination. They knew they had to keep fighting together. Back at the castle, Carla and Garen used all their knowledge and strength to counter the threat. Through their efforts and ancient artifacts, they were able to save the kingdom. They stood together, realizing that their friendship and courage had helped them overcome all obstacles. Lady Carla stood in front of her father, desperately pleading with him to reconsider. She tried to explain how important the matter was to her, but her father was adamant, stating that this was his final offer and he was not going to change his mind. Garen, despite Carla's insistence, remained firm. He said he wanted peace and quiet and did not wish to discuss the matter any further. His determination was evident, and he asked Carla to leave the room. There had been changes on the estate since Sir Isaac had started taking lessons. The tutor assigned to him was able to bring new energy and motivation to the house, which affected all the inhabitants. The teacher's public praise of Sir Isaac reached the ears of the servants. This caused daily gossip and discussion among them, which in turn had a positive effect on Isaac's reputation, gradually restoring it. Isaac sat in a good mood, smiling and reading a book. His optimism was evident, which did not escape those around him. His inner calm and confidence was contagious. Dahlia approached Isaac with the book in hand, noting his good mood. She admitted that the false rumors had upset her a great deal, but now that things had subsided, she was relieved. Isaac admitted that he'd never paid much attention to the rumors, but seeing how happy Dahlia was that things had gotten better made him feel happy too. This positive change in their relationship was noticeable to everyone around them. Dahlia ponders whether she should work harder to fulfill her dreams. Isaac agrees with her. This moment emphasizes Dahlia's determination and Isaac's support, setting the stage for further development of their relationship and personal growth. Isaac critically observes that Dahlia's waltz is not getting any better and rebukes her for being busy. Dahlia marvels at his words, realizing that she is really too immersed in her own affairs and not taking the time to practice, which adds drama to their dialogue. Realizing that Isaac is right, Dahlia embarrassedly admits that she meant otherwise. This moment shows her vulnerability and willingness to improve herself, and demonstrates Isaac's caring attitude as he tries to support her and help her succeed. Dahlia enthusiastically asks Isaac if he has heard of Wublin. Isaac listens to her curiously, which emphasizes their trusting relationship and shared interests. This dialogue opens the veil on Dahlia's dreams and her plans for the future. Dahlia dreams of returning to her hometown of Wublin, where civil war has broken out. Isaac is impressed by her determination. This scene illustrates Dahlia's devotion to her home and her desire to restore peace and beauty to the place she loves. Dahlia dreams of opening a flower store in Wublin as she watches the blossoming trees outside her window. She is full of hope and enthusiasm, dreaming of the future. This moment shows her passion for flowers and her desire to create something beautiful. Isaac asks in bewilderment what this is about, and Dahlia explains that she dreams of opening a flower store. She has heard that it would take about 5 gold pieces, but she only has 1 gold and 22 silver coins. This dialogue emphasizes her ambition and financial hardship. Dahlia plans to work hard to earn 1 gold piece a year, and it will take her another 4 years to accumulate the amount she needs. This moment shows her determination and willingness to work for her dream despite the difficulties. Isaac realizes that one day, Dahlia will leave Herman to pursue her dream. She plans to take Laurel with her, which adds a personal aspect to her plans. This scene emphasizes the inevitability of the parting and the depth of their bond. Isaac is shocked and wonders what will happen to him. This emotional moment shows his attachment to Dahlia and his fear of losing her, which creates tension and intrigue in their relationship. Dahlia and Isaac are in a romantic moment among the flowers. Isaac stares intently at Dahlia, pulling her close to him. She asks him if he really wants to leave her, looking anxiously into his eyes. Isaac tries to explain his intentions. He says that he thought she wanted to see him make a name for himself in this place, and even suggests that she wanted him to take her to the ball. The words are filled with doubt and pain. Dahlia is amazed and frightened. She tries to explain her feelings, but Isaac interrupts her, accusing her of now wanting to leave him alone. Her eyes are full of worry and anxiety. Isaac calls her a traitor, but Dahlia begs him to let her finish. Their conversation heats up, the tension builds, both realizing that this is an important moment for their relationship. Dahlia smiles, her face glowing with hope. She asks Isaac that if they reach adulthood, will they be able to live wherever they wish? She talks about possibilities and dreams, trying to bring back positivity. Isaac is stunned by the offer. Dahlia enthusiastically suggests that they travel together to Wublian, where they could live happily ever after and start a new life. Her optimism is contagious, and Isaac begins to believe it. Isaac is surprised to ask if she is really suggesting that they live together. Dahlia confirms that they can become roommates and start a new life full of adventure and joy. Dahlia says that if Isaac doesn't want to stay in Germany, they can go to Wublian. Her eyes are full of hope and faith in a better future, and Isaac begins to see it too. They sit together, enjoying the warmth of the sunlight. Isaac admits that if he could, he would leave right now. Dahlia happily offers to show him the place where she grew up to start a new life together. Dahlia and Isaac look to the future with hope and determination. Their plans and dreams together become a reality, and they are ready to go through life together despite all the difficulties. Wublian is always warm and full of greenery. Dahlia looks at the picturesque view and remembers that there is a beautiful villa by the beach that looks like it came from a painting. She smiles dreamily, enjoying the memories of beautiful places. There are many people participating in the town festivities. Mass celebrations are held in the square, filled with music and dancing. Everyone around is joyfully twirling in dance, creating an atmosphere of celebration and unity. However, despite all the fun and festivities, Dahlia admits that nothing compares to the celebrations that are held here in a cozy home with loved ones. She values these moments above all else. Dahlia realizes that none of that matters as long as she has Isaac by her side. Their connection and mutual understanding fill her life with meaning and joy. She gently holds his hand, feeling warm and supported. Isaac asks Dahlia to never speak of her desire to leave again. His words penetrate deep into the girl's heart, and she promises to stay close, for their love and support for each other is more important than anything else. Dahlia replies with a gentle smile that she agrees with Isaac. She knows that together they can overcome any hardship and keep their love alive despite all the obstacles. The change of seasons brings a long, cold winter. The stately home is covered in snow, and Dahlia remembers the warmth and comfort they create inside, despite the cold outside the windows. Isaac's training is going well. The Duke notices how quickly he is absorbing new information. Dahlia is proud of her lover, seeing his desire for knowledge and success in his studies. The servants are busier than ever, preparing for Lady Carla's upcoming engagement ceremony. The house is filled with bustle and preparations, creating a special atmosphere on the eve of the important event. Lady Carla's engagement ceremony is approaching, and everyone around them is preparing for this momentous occasion. Dahlia and Isaac go through the days together, supporting each other and preparing for the new challenges and joys that lie ahead. Dahlia receives a letter with disturbing news, holding the envelope in her hands with worry on her face. Her eyes are full of worry and fear, reflecting the importance of the message she has just read. From the letter, Dahlia learns of Laurel's deteriorating health, and her heart clenches with grief. The only thing she can do is hope and pray that Laurel survives this harsh winter by continuing her daily duties. Dahlia approaches the large house with an expression of worry on her face. She knocks on the door and hears an invitation to enter. Once inside, she feels a little calmer. Upon entering the house, Dahlia brings a basket of treats. She happily informs her host of the cookies and cake, offering a little snack between classes. Her care and kindness softens the atmosphere a bit. Isaac, a man with dark hair, looks at the basket in disbelief, noticing that he can't eat it all by himself. He decides he will need help and thanks her for her concern, realizing the sincerity of her intentions. A fine tea set and a variety of desserts appear on the table in front of them. Dahlia explains to Isaac that these treats have been prepared especially for the party that is planned for the house. Isaac, surprised by the unusual desserts, notices that they are different from what he is used to. Dahlia explains that they were prepared for the party, reminding him of an important event. Isaac remembers the upcoming party, and his face lights up with understanding. He thanks Dahlia for the reminder and realizes that it is Lady Carla's engagement, an important event for their house. The scene shifts to the ball, where the guests marvel at Lady Carla's beauty. Isaac and Dahlia watch, marveling at the atmosphere of the party and the elegance of the evening. After the feast is over, Isaac and Dahlia discuss how it went. She smiles as she remembers how beautiful Lady Carla was, and they continue to enjoy the evening, grateful for the day. Dahlia admires Carla, noting that she has always been beautiful, but tonight's dress made her look incredible. Carla's appearance makes Dahlia feel like she is beholding a majestic queen. Dahlia feels like she's at a ball at court. While having tea with Isaac, Dahlia tells him about her impressions of Carla's dress. Isaac, interested, asks about the dress, to which Dahlia confirms that it was unreal. She shares her feelings, telling him how the dress emphasized all of Carla's grace. Dahlia recalls how she used to think stories about dresses costing comparable to a house were fiction. But when she saw the quality of this dress, she realized it was true. It had so many layers of lace she couldn't count them, and there were little pearls on each ruffle. Such craftsmanship seemed almost magical to her. Isaac wonders what it would be like to wear a dress costing a house. Dahlia shares that just thinking about it brings excitement. To her, it symbolizes not only wealth, but a luxury only available to a select few. Isaac asks Dahlia if she is jealous of Carla. Dahlia confesses that of course she is jealous. It is every girl's dream to wear such a dress and get engaged to the person she loves. She says that such moments become lifelong memories. Isaac, smiling, tells Dahlia that he has a question for her. Dahlia, surprised, asks what exactly he wants to know. Her heart begins to beat faster. She senses that the question will be an important one. Isaac asks if she would accept his marriage proposal if he gave her a dress like this. He looks at her with hope in his eyes, his voice sounding quiet and sincere. Dahlia realizes that this moment could change their lives. Dahlia laughs and replies that she would agree to marry him without any dress. For her, feelings are more important than material things. She is sure that love is not measured in money and luxury. Dahlia is sure that even if Isaac had nothing, any girl would gladly marry him because the true value is in his heart and care. She tells him that true happiness is not in wealth, but in sincere relationships and love. Isaac, hearing Dahlia's words, feels his heart fill with joy. He is grateful for her sincerity and love, realizing that he has found the one he wants to spend the rest of his life with. This moment becomes the beginning of their new life together. Isaac, smiling demurely, listens to the compliments from Dahlia. He feels flattered and slightly embarrassed. Around his neck hangs a gold brooch depicting 2 eagles, symbolizing his status and wealth. The table is set with fine hors d'oeuvres and tea. Dahlia enjoys watching the neat slices of pies and sandwiches, enjoying the pleasant atmosphere. Isaac, with a serious expression on his face, promises Dahlia that he will find her a dress even more luxurious than the one she dreamed of. His eyes read determination and sincerity as he proposes to her to marry him. Dahlia, stunned by the sudden proposal, looks at Isaac. Her expression shows a mixture of surprise and confusion. She does not know how to react to such an unexpected turn of events. Reflecting on the current situation, Dahlia realizes that Isaac is joking, but at the same time she notices a spark of truth in his words. Her emotions fluctuate between laughter and seriousness as she considers what to answer. She smiles and responds with a joke, trying to lighten the mood. Dahlia realizes that her answer could change everything, but she also senses that Isaac understands her and is willing to wait. Dahlia recalls her childhood when Isaac, as a young boy, came up to her with a bouquet of flowers and told her that he wanted to marry her when he grew up. Those words stuck in her memory, bringing a smile to her face. Laurel, Dahlia's little sister, is outraged when she learns of Isaac's proposal. She clings to her sister, demanding that she not marry a stranger. The funny scene between them fills Dahlia with warmth. Now Dahlia is sitting on the grass with Laurel and baby Isaac. She thinks back to that moment when Isaac declared that he wanted to marry her. She realizes how much time has passed since then, but those memories are dear to her. Dahlia looks at the grown Isaac and marvels at how he has changed. She strokes his head, wondering how long it will be before this moment fades from his memory. On the day of Isaac's adulthood, Dahlia, smiling, remembers their past moments. She holds a basket filled with something important, and her eyes glow with joy and excitement. Her words are spoken with a special warmth and care, emphasizing the importance of this day for both of them. Isaac, with a serious expression on his face, asks Dahlia to formally propose to him if her feelings for him remain unchanged. He looks determined and full of confidence in his words, his eyes expressing deep emotion, demonstrating how much her answer means to him. Dahlia, eyes closed and smiling, says she's sure. His feelings will have changed by then. She looks calm and confident despite his request. Her words are filled with wisdom and the realization that time can change many things, including feelings. Later, in the evening silence, Isaac remembers Dahlia's words about the proposal and repeats them to himself. His thoughts center on her words, and he looks thoughtful, pondering the meaning of her words and the future they can build together. Dahlia, laughing, calls herself stupid, seeing Isaac as a young, naive boy. She's sure he doesn't realize what's on her mind or what she's capable of. Her laughter is laced with notes of sadness and self-criticism, revealing her inner turmoil. Isaac, leaning close to Dahlia, holds her hand and tells her that she has no idea of his thoughts and capabilities. He shows his determination and the seriousness of his intentions. His voice sounds confident and gentle, emphasizing the sincerity of his feelings. Isaac sits alone in the library, immersed in his thoughts about the proposal that Dahlia has made so casually. His face expresses deep thoughtfulness and concern. He ponders how important her words are to him and what decisions he will have to make. On a bright day, against the backdrop of a blooming garden, Isaac and Dahlia, in their wedding dresses, stand together, and Isaac promises to make real all thoughts of a future they can spend together. Their eyes glow with happiness and hope for a future together, full of love and harmony. Isaac looks out the window, raising his hand to the glass on which raindrops are dripping down. He thinks about the fact that he now has something in his life that he will truly look forward to. His gaze is filled with wistfulness and warmth, as if the rain brings him comfort and new hope. Isaac smiles as he looks at the rain outside his window. He feels that there is hope in his life and that he now has a reason to look forward to the future with anticipation and joy. His smile speaks of inner peace and confidence that he has found what he was looking for. Carla stood in the hall with her arms wrapped around herself as Isaac grudgingly asked what she was doing here. She, without showing much interest, calmly replied that she was just passing through, and Riley wondered if he really thought it was that important. Isaac, approaching Carla, noticed that her diligence had suddenly increased and wondered what had caused the change. He was also puzzled as to why she had been chosen to teach. Carla, thoughtfully recalling the past, replied that she clearly remembered asking him to keep a low profile. Isaac, clearly impressed by her answer, noted that she had been able to find time to ask such questions on the day of her engagement. Carla, slowly sitting down in her chair, replied with apparent indifference that his attempts to influence her were futile and would not work. Isaac noticed that Carla looked relaxed despite what was happening. Carla furrowed her eyebrows and assured him that her emotions were unchanged and that it was their daughter, not her, that was important to the Jürgenschultz family. She emphasized that this was the main thing they cared about. Isaac's attention turned to more personal matters, and he suddenly asked Carla about the man she really liked. Carla, startled by his directness, cast a quick glance at him but said nothing, trying to hide her true feelings. Carla, sighing and lowering her eyes, admitted that her father still knew about her secret, despite her best efforts to hide it. Isaac cautioned her that if she didn't want to be caught, she should be more careful and mindful of her actions. Carla, sighing irritably, replied that it didn't matter because her father knew everything anyway. She looked worried when Isaac asked her another question, suspecting that he was up to something or knew more than he was saying. Carla asked Isaac in fear and surprise if her father knew who she was having an affair with. Her eyes filled with alarm, but Isaac, remaining calm and confident, assured Carla that he wasn't going to tell her anything, which calmed her down a bit. Isaac asked Carla to relax, promising that her secrets would remain safe and he wouldn't give her away. Carla, while slightly relieved, was still wary, realizing that she couldn't trust Isaac completely just yet, despite his assurances. Carla demands Isaac's cooperation, threatening that his mother and brother will be harmed if he doesn't agree. She wants them to stay away from the outhouse and assures them it's for their safety. Isaac realizes that he has no choice but to comply with her terms, despite his inner resistance. Carla continues to insist that if Isaac can keep Max in town during the break, that would be even better. She wonders if she can't ask him to do that, showing her determination and willingness to do whatever it takes to accomplish her goals. Isaac realizes that she needs his help to achieve her ambitions. An irritated Carla gets up, trying to figure out what Isaac is up to. She accuses him of going after the title of Duke and threatens her for it. Isaac sees her anger and tries to calm her down, but she won't listen to him and continues to insist. Isaac, remaining calm, asks Carla not to let her imagination deceive her. He seems confident in his position despite her anger. Isaac realizes that she has a hard time trusting him, but he tries to convince her of his sincerity. Carla shares her plan. After being in the Duke's good graces for a while, she plans to leave with a title attached to her name and leave Herman forever. Her goal is clear, and she is willing to do whatever it takes to achieve it, despite the possible obstacles. Isaac hesitates, asking if it's all true. He wants to understand how honest Carla is about her intentions and what really drives her. He looks at her with suspicion, trying to find sincerity and truth in her words. Carla looks at Isaac's outstretched hand and waves it away, ordering him to put it out of sight. She is clearly not ready to reconcile and trust him. Carla shows her determination and intransigence, which makes Isaac wonder about her true motives. Sadly, Carla admits that she had no choice. Isaac apparently understands her situation, but still wants to convince her that she is right. It is hard for him to see her in this state, and he tries to find words of encouragement. Isaac feels cold and tries to understand why Carla is doing all this. He recalls her words when she first arrived, that she would be quiet until the day she died. Now he realizes that her plans have changed, and it makes him wonder. Carla, looking at Isaac, wonders why he broke his promise to be quiet. Her gaze is full of pain and bewilderment as she tries to find answers to her questions. Her inner conflict becomes apparent, and she realizes that it is difficult to trust Isaac. The girl with the red hair, Carla, is desperate to find out about the nasty rumors and tries to find out the truth. She can't believe it really has to do with the maid. Carla feels the growing tension and fear of the possible consequences. Isaac speaks with a serious expression on his face about his desire to lead the right life. His words are full of determination, and it makes one wonder how strong his intentions are to change his destiny. Carla, overcome with emotion, leaves the room. The sound of the slammed door echoes, reflecting her determination and despair. She feels lost and doesn't know where to turn for help. She mocks Isaac, calling him a monster. Her words are full of bitterness and contempt. Carla does not believe that he, a man with such a twisted soul, can start a new life just by his own will. A letter arrives at the estate. It is sent by the Viscount and contains important news. It turns out that Isaac will spend every vacation in the capital, and it will be 3 years before he graduates. The Duchess is saddened that she will not be able to see her son for the next few years. This news brings her pain, and she feels disconnected from her child. Lady Carla, on the other hand, takes the news calmly, as if she had been expecting it. She continues to enjoy her tea, maintaining her outward calm and dignity, as if it is of no great importance to her. The servants at the manor are overjoyed to hear of Isaac's impending departure. They are careful not to show their true feelings, however, for fear of repercussions and to be cautious. The postponement of Isaac's arrival makes time on the estate sweet, peaceful, and quick. The landscape around fills with spring colors, symbolizing a new beginning and hope for a future where all problems will be a thing of the past. The madam in the red coat, after 3 years of waiting, calls everyone to line up. Her stern appearance and imperious gestures show that she does not tolerate disobedience. The grand palace shines with gold and marble, creating a solemn atmosphere filled with anticipation of the important event. Dahlia assures everyone that they know the reason for their gathering, to meet the Viscount. She emphasizes the importance of this moment and expects exemplary behavior from everyone. The response of the chorus shows the discipline and responsibility of the servants, who realize the importance of this moment. The wide doors of the palace swing open, and the servants in black and white uniforms line up to greet the returning Viscount. Their poise and coordinated movements emphasize the importance of the moment. The majestic "Welcome home, sir" echoes through the high halls, creating an atmosphere of solemnity and respect. Maximilian, a young man with bright red hair and blue eyes, inquires from a servant about his father's whereabouts. Upon receiving the answer that his father is in his office, he expresses displeasure and disappointment, his expectations of the meeting not being met. He does not understand why his father did not meet him in person after a long separation. Maximilian resents the fact that his father is too busy to meet his own son, whom he has not seen for 3 years. He feels betrayed and forgotten. Determined not to let this go unchallenged, he declares that he will go to greet his father himself, showing his determination and willingness for confrontation. As Maximilian heads towards his father, a servant tries to stop him, but he walks resolutely forward. His eyes burn with determination and resentment as he decides to speak to his father in person. His determination is evident in every step. He is ready to stand up for what is right and fight for his father's attention. His brother, a tall man with black hair named Isaac, stands at the top of the stairs. Maximilian asks with disdain in his voice why he has not been greeted. Isaac looks at his son with a cold smile, showing his indifference and arrogance. Maximilian feels a deep resentment. Maximilian, seething with anger, hurls at his brother that he should be in the forest, calling him a bastard child. His voice trembles with rage and pain, and he feels betrayed and humiliated. This statement emphasizes the deep hurt and sense of betrayal he feels. Maximilian approaches his brother, grabbing him by the collar. Isaac stares defiantly into his brother's eyes, ready for any reprisal, but firmly states that he will be sorry if he touches him. His determination and courage is evident in his eyes despite the threat. He has no intention of backing down. Isaac, letting his son go, mockingly says that they have an audience. His smile is full of schadenfreude, and his eyes sparkle with cruelty. Maximilian realizes that this fight is not over, and he is ready for further confrontation. He senses that there are many more challenges ahead of him. Maximilian is furious, accusing Isaac of disrespect, his fist clenched, his face contorted with anger. Maximilian seems ready for a fight, his face expressing determination and anger, which emphasizes his inability to control his emotions. Grabbing Isaac's arm, Maximilian is surprised by his strength. He tries to understand how Isaac can be so strong, which leaves him perplexed and worried. Isaac, holding Maximilian's hand, smiles and calmly tells him that if he is going to be the head of the family, he should reconsider his methods. His eyes read confidence and disdain for Maximilian's rage. Isaac looks at Maximilian seriously and coldly, letting him know that he had better take care of himself. This scene emphasizes his confidence and superiority, as well as his willingness to act decisively and ruthlessly if necessary. After the Viscount's return and his confrontation with Isaac, rumors among the servants begin to run rampant. Discussions and gossip that were previously passed around in whispers now become explicit and open, causing anxiety among all the servants. Attention shifts to the servants, who are amazed and excited about what is happening. The spark of rumor that has been passed between them for the past 3 years suddenly erupts into a veritable conflagration, affecting everyone around them. The question of whether the master intends to change his heir worries everyone. Tension rises when it becomes clear that such a move could change the fate of the family, causing anxiety and doubts among those around. Most people are firmly of the opinion that a bastard boy has no place in the matter of inheriting the title. Discussions and disagreements among the aristocrats emphasize the gravity of the situation and the importance of the upcoming decisions. Some argue that Sir Isaac is much better suited to the role of heir than the Viscount. These words cause even more tension and division among the entourage as the issue of the heir becomes more and more controversial. Everyone who saw Sir Isaac knew and thought the same thing. His elegant gait, charming and calm tone of voice inspired respect and admiration. Isaac looked like a true leader, worthy of his place in the family. Isaac was a man more worthy of the title of Jürgenschultz than anyone else. His shrewd gaze and stern expression spoke of high ambition and outstanding abilities that were visible to all who knew him. He always strove for perfection and expected the same from those around him. Dahlia, the Duchess's maid, reflected that if Isaac had not been obliged to run the Duchess's many errands, his social standing would have been much higher. He deserved more, but was constrained by circumstances that limited his opportunities and prospects. Dahlia sensed that some people held a grudge against her. Despite her efforts to do her best for everyone around her, the feeling was impossible to ignore. She tried to be inconspicuous, but realized that her actions and words were often discussed behind her back. Aware of her position, Dahlia was not surprised by the suspicion of those around her. Having worked in the outhouse for a long time, she knew that gossip and rumors were inevitable. She tried to ignore the gossip, but sometimes it wasn't easy, especially when the suspicions concerned her honesty and loyalty. Immersed in her thoughts, Dahlia heard her friend Edina call out to her. Edina was always there to support and cheer her up, which made her a true friend. Their friendship was a source of comfort and joy for Dahlia in times of need. Edina noticed the tension on Dahlia's face and tried to cheer her up. She always knew how to find a way to cheer her up in difficult times, and this time was no exception. Edina valued her friendship with Dahlia and tried to help her forget her problems, even if only for a short time. Dahlia decided to treat Edina to a chocolate cake left over from last night's ball. The gesture caused Edina to cheer and have a brief moment of carefree laughter. The chocolate cake became a symbol of their friendship and support, reminding her that even in difficult times, one could find moments of happiness. The joy was short-lived, as Edina remembered an unpleasant incident at the ball. Isaac had clashed with the Viscount yesterday, and the conflict had led to Isaac drinking himself into oblivion. This incident has caused more gossip and discussion among the servants and guests. Because of his severe hangover, Isaac was unable to continue attending the ball and left early. His absence became noticeable to all who came to the feast in his honor. Many were disappointed by his behavior, as they had expected to see Isaac in full glory at this important event. Edina, shocked by the events, could not understand Isaac's act. The Duchess had spent all day planning the ball, and now she and Lady Carla had to deal with the aftermath of this scandal. They had hoped for a different outcome when they had organized this party, but now they had to deal with the problems and restore order. Dahlia felt anxious, but Edina calmed her down by informing her that they had handled it, and Earl Newitt had saved the day. Dahlia repeated the Earl's name joyfully, grateful for his help. She couldn't believe her ears, and was genuinely happy for the rescue of their situation thanks to the Earl, feeling that their lives would now change for the better. The emotion overwhelmed her heart, and she couldn't hold back a smile. Dahlia had heard that Earl Newitt had been kind to Sir Isaac, which surprised and pleased her. She reflected on how the Earl had helped their family. Images of the kindness and support the Earl had shown to Sir Isaac came to mind, and it was encouraging. Dahlia felt that they had a new ally, and it gave her strength to carry on. Dahlia was happy that Sir Isaac now had someone willing to help and support him. She smiled as she remembered how things had changed over the past few years. There was a confidence in her heart that with a man like Earl Newitt, their future would be brighter and more secure. She thought back to the difficult times and realized how important it was to have people like that around. Edina called out to Dahlia, informing her that the head maid wanted to see her. Dahlia looked up in surprise, preparing herself for the unexpected encounter. Her heart began to beat faster with excitement and curiosity. She couldn't imagine what exactly the head maid wanted to discuss with her. Maybe it was an important assignment or something else that would change her life. When Dahlia arrived, the head maid told her the big news. She said that they now had a new assignment, and it was an unexpected change. Dahlia listened carefully, trying to understand all the details. The news was so unexpected that it took her a few seconds to realize its significance. Her mind was spinning with thoughts of what this particular assignment could mean for her and her future. Dahlia stood in front of Madame's desk, who confirmed that it was true. Dahlia listened intently, trying to comprehend the importance of what she was hearing. Madame seemed to be serious and confident in her words. Dahlia felt that this errand was really important, and her heart was filled with determination and responsibility to fulfill it. Madame said that Dahlia would need time to think it over. She handed her a box with an errand to deliver to the outhouse. Dahlia accepted the box with trepidation, realizing that she now had a great responsibility. She felt that this errand could be a pivotal moment in her life, and she was determined to fulfill it in the best possible way. Dahlia picked up a beautifully patterned box and realized it was a gift for Sir Isaac. She promised to fulfill Madame's errand. The box was elegant and beautiful, and Dahlia realized how important this gift was. She felt that she was holding something valuable and meaningful in her hands, and it filled her heart with pride. With determination in her eyes, Dahlia held the box and mentally prepared herself to tell Sir Isaac the important news immediately. She felt she had to do it as soon as possible, and her heart pounded in anticipation. Dahlia realized that this news would change many things, and she was prepared to do her best to deliver it to Sir Isaac in the best possible way. Dahlia cheerfully called out to Hoover as she met him in the garden. She looked radiant with happiness and a little flustered. Hoover turned around and froze in surprise, as if he hadn't expected to meet her here. Hoover must have been deep in thought, because he didn't notice Dahlia calling his name several times. She scolded him for sneaking up on people, and he only looked embarrassed and apologized in response. Dahlia noticed that Hoover was looking a little under the weather and showed concern by asking how he was feeling. Hoover, unaccustomed to such attention, nervously brushed it off, but it was obvious that he was pleased by her concern. Trying to leave, Hoover was stopped by Dahlia. She wouldn't let him go, obviously wanting to continue the conversation. You could see in her eyes a genuine desire to help and understand what was troubling him. Hoover pulled a beautiful box out of his pocket and held it out to Dahlia. She looked at the gift with interest, not understanding what it could mean. Hoover looked serious, as if this moment was important to him. Dahlia opened the box and saw an exquisite handkerchief. She marveled at its beauty, noting that it was too fine for ordinary use. Hoover was embarrassed by her praise, not knowing how to respond. Hoover seemed to want to say something important, but instead twitched nervously when Dahlia joked that the shawl was probably meant for some girl. He was clearly unprepared for such a question. Dahlia, realizing she had hurt his feelings, quickly retreated, apologizing and walking away. Hoover was left alone, immersed in his own thoughts and worries. He looked frustrated, but also determined. As she left, Dahlia was angry at herself for the bad joke. She closed the door behind her, wondering why Hoover couldn't be a little friendlier. Her eyes read hope for a better understanding between them. Dahlia, a girl with light blonde hair, timidly opens the door and asks if she can come in. She holds a book in her hands, her face glowing with curiosity and slight anxiety. She seems to be bringing an important message or running an errand. Carla, a lady with long red hair, turns around and informs her that Isak, who Dahlia was looking for, is now absent. Dahlia looks at her with sudden excitement, trying to figure out what to do next in this situation. Carla explains that Isak was summoned to the office by their father. Her face expresses slight weariness, but also curiosity. She asks Dahlia what she needs, hoping to get a concrete answer and understand the reason for the girl's visit. Dahlia, trying to look confident, explains that she is running an errand for her master. She looks at Carla with respect, hoping that her answer will be accepted and that she will be able to complete her task without further hindrance. The changes taking place in the house have not escaped Carla's notice. Her face has become more thoughtful. She is no longer the sharp as a deadly blade woman she used to be. Years and events have clearly left their mark on her appearance and inner state. Carla, who once shone like the most magnificent jewel, now looks more vulnerable. Her eyes express sadness and weariness, which is noticeable even in the light of day. Her inner struggle and tension seems to be increasing day by day. As the wedding day approaches, Carla looks more and more exhausted. Her thoughts are clearly preoccupied with something important and troubling. She stares out the window as if looking for answers to her questions or hoping to find solace in the beauty of nature outside. Dahlia has noticed that she is seeing Carla in the outhouse more and more often. She wonders why the lady spends so much time here, but sees no sign that Carla has become close to Isak. Her speculation becomes more and more confused. Dahlia wonders what draws Carla here. Her eyes are on the lady, trying to figure out her motives and what is going on in this house. There seems to be more than just business as usual behind it all. Carla, standing at the window, ponders her future and the changes to come. Her thoughts are filled with doubt and anxiety, but you can still see a glimmer of her former strength in her gaze. Perhaps she is looking for a way to change her destiny or find a new meaning in life. Carla and Dahlia are in the library. Carla inquires thoughtfully about the assignment, and Dahlia, excited, informs her that Sir Isaac will be attending a formal feudal meeting. Carla interjects with surprise. Carla clarifies with surprise that Isaac will indeed be attending such an important event. Dahlia happily confirms that Isaac will indeed be attending the assembly, much to Carla's bewilderment and concern. Carla grudgingly calls Isaac a lucky bastard. Dahlia explains that on the occasion of the feudal assembly, the host has ordered the making of suitable jewelry for Sir Isaac, showing a box of beautiful accessories. Dahlia opens the box and shows the jewelry made especially for Isaac. Carla looks at them and sarcastically remarks that it looks very extravagant, hiding her true feelings behind the irony. Carla thinks that maybe Isaac keeps seeing someone because of that jewelry. Her thoughts are interrupted by the appearance of Isaac, who greets Dahlia. She responds cheerfully, and Carla watches with interest. Isaac, smiling, asks Dahlia if he has kept her waiting long. Dahlia replies that if he had known she was here, he would have come back sooner. Carla jealously watches their conversation, not hiding her displeasure. Carla asks what Dahlia is doing here. Isaac says he could have tried to be more polite. Carla irritably replies that she didn't come here to see him. Isaac suggests she take a walk, trying to lighten her mood. Isaac continues to insist that the sun is glistening wonderfully on the flower beds, suggesting that Carla enjoy the walk. Carla looks at him with displeasure, feeling an inner conflict between her emotions and reason. Carla stares at Isaac in silence, pondering his words. She doesn't know how to respond to his suggestion and remains in her thoughts. Isaac, on the other hand, continues to watch her, hoping to ease her displeasure and tension. The situation in the library remains tense, and Carla cannot decide how to react to what is happening. She continues to struggle with her inner emotions as she ponders her feelings about Isaac and his behavior. Carla apologizes to Isaac and Dahlia, explaining that Lady Carla is uncomfortable walking between the flower beds right now. This causes Isaac to be surprised, and Dahlia expresses her concern and desire to help Lady Carla. Dahlia informs him with a slight smile that the flower beds are now being handled by Mr. Hoover. Carla, clearly annoyed, replies sharply that Dahlia is too chatty for a maid, causing tension between them. Dahlia feels uncomfortable with such harsh words. Dahlia suggests that Carla take a walk elsewhere, but Carla explodes with anger. She yells that Dahlia should focus on her duties, slamming the door in front of a dumbfounded Isaac and Dahlia. The tension in the air becomes palpable. After the conflict, Isaac calms Dahlia down, saying her words were perfect. Dahlia looks at him with gratitude, feeling support and understanding from his words. This moment reinforces their mutual trust and respect. Later, Dahlia shows Isaac cufflinks and a brooch, offering to choose. Isaac rejects the flashy brooch, preferring a more modest option, eliciting Dahlia's approval. She appreciates his taste and his understanding that little things matter. Isaac admits that he doesn't need jewelry, since he's not a lady going to a ball. Dahlia insists on the importance of appropriate appearance, even for a feudal gathering, and Isaac agrees. He understands her concern for his image. Dahlia suggests a dark sapphire for the tie pin, explaining that it will be less conspicuous. Isaac agrees and asks Dahlia to help him put the pin on along with his tie. This gesture shows his trust in her and her judgment. Gladly accepting the request, Dahlia helps Isaac put the tie on. Isaac notices that his host will be pleased if he wears this accessory and expresses his gratitude. Her care and attention to detail brings a genuine smile to his face. Isaac feels the joy of being above Dahlia, allowing him to feel her support by his side. A special bond develops between them, expressed in every gesture and look. Their relationship becomes increasingly close and trusting. Deeper feelings gradually emerge in their interactions, turning their relationship into something special and meaningful to both of them. They both begin to realize that there is more to their lives than just friendship. Dahlia watches Isaac, trying not to let him notice her glances. She feels that her feelings for him are impossible to hide and fears that he can read her thoughts on her face. She turns away when it seems he might look at her so as not to give away her emotions. Isaac dreams of the moment when he can do what he wants, hug and kiss Dahlia without fear or doubt. He wonders when that time will finally come, and if he will be able to make the first move toward her without fear of repercussions and her reaction. Isaac ponders if Dahlia will feel discomfort or embarrassment if he approaches her. He wonders what she will look like in a moment of embarrassment when he gets close enough to her that her heart starts beating faster. Suddenly, Isaac finishes some work and smiles at Dahlia. She thanks him with a genuine smile, their gazes meet, and a spark of understanding runs between them. The light and warmth of the moment fills their hearts. Isaac asks Dahlia's opinion on something important, and she, a little surprised, answers in the affirmative. He agrees with her opinion, recognizing that she is always right. This moment reinforces their mutual respect and trust for each other. Dahlia happily informs Isaac that he should get a promotion. He looks surprised, but deep down he is pleased with her recognition. She smiles, realizing that her support is very important to him. Dahlia is shocked to learn that Isaac knows about some secret of hers. She panics and asks him how he knew, and he calmly replies that he overheard the head maid talking to another maid. Dahlia realizes that her secret is no longer a secret. Isaac shrugs, questioning whether Dahlia is worth the promotion. He expresses doubt that she is good enough for the new position, but her confidence and determination leave no room for doubt about her abilities. Isaac brings up the fact that the promotion could lead to an even heavier workload for Dahlia. She admits that the last few days have been very stressful, but her determination and dedication remain unwavering. Isaac sighs, realizing her hard work. Isaac hugs Dahlia and notes that she is getting busier and busier. She smiles and replies that it's because of his height and the responsibilities he's given. Isaac, despite his strictness, shows care and understanding. They both feel their relationship growing closer. Dahlia, smiling happily, encourages Isaac by saying that he was unlucky with the invitation to the meeting this time, but he should take this opportunity to definitely get an invitation next time. Isaac seemed to seriously consider her words. The smile on Isaac's face is replaced with determination as he confirms his agreement to her proposal. His gaze is filled with determination and inner calm. He is ready to act. Dahlia, confident and calm, announces that she is going to go to the meeting. Her confidence and calmness emphasize her determination and readiness for the events to come. The meeting is attended by many people around a long table, including Isaac and other influential people. They discuss current problems with the railroad, particularly the plan to expand westward. Isaac, holding a letter in his hand, announces the completion of the final phase of test rides in this sector. He says that all preparations have been completed, and now all that remains is to organize the opening ceremony. Baron Datern expresses his confidence that with the pace they have achieved, they will be able to resolve the distribution conflict earlier than anticipated. His confidence reflects the seriousness and responsibility of his decision-making. Earl Newitt expresses his surprise at the speed of problem-solving. He notes that nothing would have been accomplished without Isaac's active intervention and participation in the process. Maximilian, sitting at his desk, thoughtfully analyzes what is happening. He is thinking about whether to move on to the next item on the agenda and wants to hear his advisor's opinion on the construction of the canal. Viscount Maximilian wonders why Isaac, despite his disgraceful circumstances of birth, sits so confidently at the table. It seems to him that the others have already forgotten about Isaac's past. Maximilian feels that he is the only one who cares what happens. He cannot let his first involvement in such an important meeting end this way, and he intends to act. Viscount Maximilian stood in the formal meeting, his face expressing excitement. The Earl of Newitt, noticing this, approached and remarked with a smile that such gatherings could be rather formal and prim. Maximilian shuddered, trying to hide his emotions, and listened tensely to the Earl. Earl Newitt, continuing his speech, expressed his confidence that the Viscount would quickly become accustomed to such events. Maximilian tried to relax, agreeing with the Earl. However, the mention of a public school diploma made him tense up again, and he listened attentively to his interlocutor. The older man assured Maximilian that Sergeant Jufkenschultz was doing his best to support him as heir. These words should have reassured the Viscount, but responsibility and anxiety did not leave him. Count Newitt emphasized again that the Viscount shouldn't worry too much. When someone asked if he meant Isaac, Count Newitt confirmed it, explaining that while Maximilian had been away, Isaac had been learning the basics of management. Maximilian began to feel his patience running out, despite all the assurances from those around him. The Viscount couldn't take it anymore and angrily blurted out that everyone around him was acting like an imbecile. Baron Datern, frightened by his rage, tried to calm the Viscount by reminding him that this was an official meeting. Maximilian, however, paid no attention to him and continued to boil with indignation. Count Newitt tried to calm Maximilian down, but he told him to shut up. Baron Dater begged everyone to stop, but the tension in the hall continued to rise. Maximilian accused those present of bestowing the title on those who didn't deserve it. Maximilian grabbed Isaac by the collar, shouting that the title was not for filthy bastards. Isaac, frightened and confused, tried to justify himself. Garin, the Duke, who was watching, intervened and ordered Maximilian to let Isaac go and return to his seat. The Viscount, releasing Isaac, turned around and headed back to his seat, the storm of emotions within him unabated. Baron Dater whispered apologies to those present for Maximilian's behavior. The atmosphere in the hall remained tense, and everyone waited to see what would happen next. Maximilian gritted his teeth, struggling to contain his anger. His outburst came from a deep sense of injustice and resentment at the way the titles were being distributed. He tried to calm down, but his thoughts continued to simmer, and his heart beat fast, foreshadowing more conflicts to come. Garin stood with a grim expression and called Maximilian to order, shouting his name with displeasure. The atmosphere in the hall had heated up to the limit, and all eyes were fixed on the Viscount, waiting for his reaction to what was happening. Maximilian felt the pressure building up. The Earl of Newitt, a pragmatic and experienced man, valued skill over origin. His interests center on useful skills, making him an influential figure in his surroundings. Baron Dater, conservative and arrogant, is contemptuous of other people's origins. However, he is not inclined to sit idly by and is willing to take active action, making him a determined opponent. Maximilian, being in a state of irritation and drinking until the early hours of the morning, easily gives in to anger. His erratic behavior makes him vulnerable to manipulation, something his opponents take advantage of. Isaac, in control of the chessboard, demonstrates strategic thinking. He skillfully plans railroad announcements to coincide with an important meeting, showing his shrewdness and coolness. Maximilian, under the pressure of circumstances, shows capitulation to the situation. His inner chaos and vulnerability become apparent, allowing Isaac to continue his manipulations. The conflict between Viscount Maximilian, Earl Newitt, and Baron Dater heats up. In response to accusations of unacceptable behavior, Maximilian finds himself in a difficult situation, forced to acknowledge their authority. Maximilian realizes his mistake and apologizes to the Count and Baron. His remorse and realization of guilt show his vulnerability and desire to correct his mistakes, which elicits sympathy from the others. Isaac reflects on his low origin and realizes that his insolent behavior is inappropriate in noble society. His self-criticism emphasizes his desire for self-improvement and his struggle with inner complexes. Maximilian, realizing his mistakes, apologizes for his foolishness. The blood on his lips symbolizes his inner struggle and pain, as well as his willingness to accept the consequences of his actions and his desire for redemption. The scene with the blood on Maximilian's lips concludes the conflict, emphasizing his inner struggle and pain. His remorse and admission of wrongdoing concludes the tense situation, leaving room for possible reconciliation and correction. In the sumptuous hall, Viscount Maximilian is furious and orders someone to be taken away immediately. His face expresses deep indignation, and his fingers tensely point at the alleged culprit. The atmosphere around him is tense. Maximilian is grabbed by two guards, and he, surprised and furious, tries to understand what is happening. His face is contorted with bewilderment and anger as he shouts at his father, demanding an explanation and release. Maximilian, in his predicament, vehemently accuses those around him of being mad to trust his enemy. He claims that the latter seeks his title and cannot understand how a man like Isaac could have been given such a name. Isaac, sitting on the floor, examines the damage on his face. Garin, the Duke, extends a hand to him, offering help and asking if he can stand up. There is an air of reflection and concern all around. Garin assures Isaac that what has happened is not his fault, trying to comfort and support him. In the hall, the tension gradually begins to subside, and the other men sigh with relief. Isaac, still discouraged by what has happened, declares that Viscount Maximilian holds Hermann's future in his hands. He feels it would be best to step down, despite all the complications and conflicts. Garin, holding Isaac by the shoulders, convinces him to stay, claiming that he has personally given him this responsibility. Garin believes that there is no reason to leave, especially when the true culprit has yet to be punished.